Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Quran and the guidance of God in it.
Time to rise and meet the challenge. Babashuaib is calling you out. Meet Babashuaib, a correctional officer with a mission. Today he's throwing down the gauntlet to the mushriks, no more holding back. With his logo shirt and cap, Babashuaib sits tall and confident. He says, "The time for action is now. It's time to rise, to push past limits, and to become the best versions of ourselves." Babashuaib believes in the power of determination and resilience. His challenge is simple. Stand up, face your fears, and conquer them. Every day is a new opportunity, he says. An opportunity to grow stronger, to be better, and to leave a mark on the world. So, are you ready to accept Babashuaib's challenge? Are you ready to rise above and beyond? Join Babashuaib and let's show the world what we're made of, because the only limit is the one you set for yourself.
It's man ishtarata sharatan laysa fi kitabillah. This is a principle that everyone should apply, including yourself. That do not impose in anything that you do in your life. Do not impose in anything that you do a condition that you do not find that condition in the book. So alhamdulillah, you have just proven that the sunnah takes us back to the Quran. The sunnah tells us, go to the Quran and see the laws that are in the Quran. Whatever laws you find there, don't apply it to, if it's not in the book of Allah, don't apply it to your life.
They think they are sensible and they keep on making mistakes.
Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram. Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Thank you all for coming. This is Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer. I'm streaming live from Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok simultaneously. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate your presence. Kindly share so other people can join. Thank you very much for coming. Kindly share so other people can join. So we are here once again. This is Wednesday. Thanks to God. My second stream for this year. Yeah. And this is the question Q&A session. I will tackle a video before I go on the question and answer, where I give people the chance to ask me questions, right? To interact. The people who usually watch me and wants to benefit, yes, I can allow question from you. But the people who are coming in as rivals, who are coming in as opposition, we have to go back and forth. I will not allow you to just question me, just like feeling like you are in charge. No. So we will go back and forth. But the people who are willing to learn, yes, you're welcome with your questions when I allow the chance to ask questions. So thank you very much. I appreciate your presence. Let me give some shout outs for those watching on Facebook, YouTube, and then TikTok. So we have Mazlan Osman, the real Mishizi Sniper, Mod Ashari, Abdurrahim, Shaheen, Samhin, Dangan and Dagi, Brother Jam, Sister Iram, Omar Sataur, Halal Ahmed, Abu Sise, Musa Arabogo, Muhammad Lamin Diawara, Bin Baz, Barsalim bin Sali, Nara Pawa, Nara Pawa, NK Kin Ndamasi, Mamadou Jarju, Abdul Samad Adam. Yes, salam to you, brother. I ate something. I don't know. That thing is. Yeah. Oscar Sanya. My brother Imran Khan, I see you. Salam to you. Tinta Fugaz, Jibril, Rashitek Africa. Baba Sidu, yes, I see you. Baba Sidu Naganka. Brother Jam, yes, I see you. Karim Jonathan, Yakub Yaya. Yeah, thank you very much, Jam. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you, Lamin Toure. Thank you. Yes. Yes, brother Imran, I appreciate that. Thank you. We have Alex Jan. We have Mohammed Nurullah. Yes, thank you very much, Jam. Yes. Shishi Mama. I think yes, not necessarily mental. I have salam Shamu Isa. Let me see. For those, this is for those on Facebook and YouTube. Greetings to you, all of you. For those who I didn't get to give the shout outs, I know you'll be joining later. Greetings to you, Sister Diana, Sister Carly, Zuleika, Sister Shifa. You mentioned them. They are just them. There's Melanie. There is Mazlan Osman. Yeah, Mazlan Osman says, yeah. So let me give some shout outs to those on TikTok, right? We have Lamin Toure, we have Rashid Green, we have upon La ilaha illallah, salam to you. We have Malik, peace to you. We have, who do we have? How can we change the belief of African? How can we change the belief of African? The question is very complex. Ibn Shafihi, yes. Sister JS, yes, also. Yeah, it's somebody, yeah. Mazlan Osman says same shirt during Mami Grace. The one I wore on Mami Grace is green. The color is green. This is like a more like a light brown. And I have a white version also. I think I have it in 3 colors, different colors. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Sister Diana is here. Salam to you. We have Nasiru Ras Dadabah. He says, please, I want to know how Muslims share their inherit is right. It has to be according to the Quran, the book of God. If it is not, then yes. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your presence. Yeah, Sami said, thank you all for coming. Yeah, thank you, Malik. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. God bless you. Brother Nazir, I see you. NSC, thank you all for coming. Yeah. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Sister Fatima Chin, when people appreciate the effort I put in, my struggle to actually give people the truth, it motivates me to keep going further, to do more. So this is the best I can offer. And I wish I can do better than that. But yes, for now, this is what I can offer. And I appreciate all the support you guys show to my efforts. Right? Brother Umar Sataur, yeah, you're welcome. Salam to you. Yeah, just before I start, let me see. Before, I need to play a video. But before the video, you saw this guy who said he bet that something is he says betting is haram, but he bets that somebody doesn't understand speak Arabic or something.
Yeah,
this
betting
guy
is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic.
that is Hasim Al-Hakim. He's a comedian, by the way. I don't see him as serious person. He says betting is haram, meaning betting is haram according to yeah. Somebody says Sheikh, I drink beer. Yes, Sheikh, I drink beer. That's him. Who said he drinks beer? Time lapse pilot. That is I drink beer. This is the
I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. But the beer I drink, before you quote me for that, is from Saudi Arabia, and it has like 2%, maybe 3% alcohol. And it's legal and it's halal. One says, oh, it has alcohol. Akhi, if I drink half a pack, nothing happens. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. But the beer I drink, before you quote me for that, is from Saudi Arabia, and it has like 2%, maybe 3% alcohol. And it's legal and it's halal. One says, oh, it has alcohol. Akhi, if I drink half a pack, nothing happens. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. But the beer I drink, before you quote me for that, is from Saudi Arabia, and it has like 2%, maybe 3% alcohol. And it's legal and it's halal. One says, oh, it has alcohol. Akhi, if I drink half a pack, nothing happens. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that. But the beer I drink, before you quote me for that, is from Saudi Arabia, and it has like 2%, maybe 3% alcohol. And it's legal and it's halal. One says, oh, it has alcohol. Akhi, if I drink half a pack, nothing happens. I drink beer, and I'm proud of that.
So ladies and gentlemen, here you have Asim Al-Hakim. He drinks beer, and he says he's proud of it, right? And he's not joking. He meant it, to be honest. He meant it. But when he feels the pressure, he came out to say, oh, he doesn't stand by that same statement again because they pressured him, He's a comedian, I tell you. And here he's saying he's not a scholar.
Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
So if you take this guy seriously, that is your own palava sauce. Because there is no way you should take this kind of person seriously. You understand? You like heebie-jeebies. The heebie-jeebies is too much. So these are the kind of people they put in the limelight, in the forefront for you to be listening to. And can you imagine people pay him about, is it $100 or over $100 just for 30 minutes consultation, half an hour consultation? Can you imagine? So what is it that this guy has to offer you? Or what intellect does he have that to offer you? You understand? Somebody who drinks beer. I think maybe the beer from Saudi Arabia is from heaven. I don't know. Maybe it's from paradise. So that one is exclusive for the shuyuks. He just exposed the shuyuks in Saudi Arabia free of charge. We didn't even pressure him to say these things. He said it freely. And we have the videos. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the internet, 21st century. You say something like this, is gone forever. So, oh, Asim. Guys, if you want to watch comedy, don't watch Kevin Hart, don't watch Dave Chappelle and so on. Just watch this guy, Asim Al-Hakim, if you want to actually enjoy comedy. The guy is very, very funny, to be honest. He's funny. I think they just decided to use a comedian instead of a scholar. So he came out to say he's not a scholar. So he indirectly telling you who he is. He's a comedian. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, you want to drink beer which is halal, go to Saudi Arabia. It's halal. Yes, because it's from Saudi. Yeah, salam to you, brother Palmer. So to move on with the topic of today, he's the same guy who said, he says betting is haram, but I bet you again. He said betting is haram, but he bets again. So listen to that video again. He said betting is haram, but this is what he said.
Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic.
So this sheikh is just kaput. He goes like this. He says something, he goes this way and that way. You understand? So if this is your sheikh, I'm sorry. You have to think twice. Anyways, before I open the segment for the question and answer session, Mr. Cruising says, I don't know, Baba. He said it is from Saudi, so it must be holy halal. I don't know if that beer is made in the Kaaba or Masjid al-Haram, maybe, because it's, you know, he just exposed the Saudis. Imran says certificate of halal. No, I know that, of course, a lot of Arabs do come to Europe to drink alcohol. That I know. I'm based in Europe, so I don't need evidence for that. It's more. Okay, so last week I touched upon one of my elders, an elder that I respect, right? His name is Hamza Malik. He said something in the opening statement concerning saying "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." He said, when I say that, it is shirk, and I proved to him it is not shirk. It is actually from the Quran. There are examples you find in the Quran which you say it. It's not about after reading the Quran you seek refuge. How do you seek refuge? You seek refuge by saying it verbally to God. Then He will protect you. Quran chapter 25 verse 77 actually shows you that you have to let me put the verse on the screen. Quran chapter 25 verse 77, and let me share the screen so that you get to understand why we do supplication to God. So God asked the messenger to say, my Lord will not care for you if not for your supplication, that is your invocation, but you have denied, so it will be a necessity. So meaning it is based on your invocation, your supplication, that God has to respond to you. Because the reason is, He says, Adu'uni astajib lakum. He says, invoke me and I'll respond to you. This is a law that He has actually stated is there. There's something we call law of attraction. You put it there, He put the law there. So He says, invoke me and I'll respond. Even the devil invoked God and God responded. So you think you will invoke God and He will not respond? It depends on the way you are invoking God. Yes. Ask yourself, the devil invoked God and God answered. He told God to respite him to the day of judgment. God did that. It is only the things that he will say that goes against God. Hey, Osherere, I see. Osherere Ragako, you are watching. It is only the things that you will say that goes against God, right? The laws of God that will not change. For instance, God says, "Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut wa nabluukum bish-sharri wal khairi fitna." Quran chapter 21 verse 35. God says every soul shall or will taste death. And whilst God will test us with the good trials and the bad trials, right? So now God says every soul will taste death. Then now you come to God and say, God, I don't want to die. God, please don't let me die. You understand? That kind of prayer, he already gave his word out that every soul will taste death. So now you are telling God he shouldn't let you die. You know it's not possible. Again, you understand? But other than that, call on him for anything, any other thing. Yes, he'll respond. So now, in Quran chapter 25, verse 77, God says, my Lord will not care for you. That is, he's telling the messenger to say, my Lord will not care for you if not for your supplication or invocation. So he wants you to invoke him. That's why in Quran chapter 40, verse 60, I put it on the screen. Quran chapter 40, verse 60, this is what he says. He says, and your Lord said, invoke me, I will respond to you. Then he says, indeed, those who are arrogant to worship me will enter hell piling up. So now, Quran chapter 2, verse 186. Then he told his messenger to tell the people, this is what he said. And whenever my servant ask you, you the messenger, about me, that is God, then he says, then indeed I am near. Because God is closer to you than your jugular vein. He's everywhere. Quran chapter 57 verse 4, he is wherever you are. He is with you. So somebody will say God is in heaven. Yes, he is there. God is on earth. Yes, he is there. He's everywhere. If you go to the sea, inside the sea, God is there. So God is in heaven. He is in the east. He's in the west. He's in the south. He's in the north. He's everywhere you go. The last time somebody was asking me, so if he goes to the toilet, God is there. And I said, oh my God. He already said he's everywhere. So you want God to take a leave, absent. His servant is in the toilet, so he's not. Hey, what kind of logic do people have? Seriously. He's already said he is everywhere. Wherever you are. Quran chapter 57, verse 4. You can't be anywhere without him being there. You understand? So it's summarized, and this is why Quran keeps saying it talks to people who possess intelligence, people who have akal, people who reason, people who reflect, people who give thought. You understand? Quran is speaking to intelligent people, not the sheeple. You understand? The sheeple are the ones who tell you can't follow the Quran without the garbage books. So God says, and whenever my servants ask you about me, indeed I am near. I answer the supplication of a supplicant when he invokes me. So let them respond to me and let them believe in me. Perhaps they will be guided or well guided. You understand? So God is listening to whatever prayers you are doing, but sometimes you are the one restricting your own prayer. Yes. There are certain things that you say that restricts your own prayers, your supplication to God, but you don't understand how it works. For instance, have you noticed that when the human being supplicates, for instance, in Quran chapter, this is what the verse says, Quran chapter 17, verse 11, God says, and the human being supplicates for evil as he supplicates for welfare. And the human being is ajula, that is swift, in a hurry, haste, in a hurry. You know, when you are in a hurry, do you know what happens? I'm talking from experience. And for all of you who have experienced this, when you are in a hurry, what normally happens? It's either you forget, it's either you make a mistake, it's either you miss out on something, it's either you fumble. You understand? It comes with a lot of issues when you are in a hurry for something. But remember, God says, Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. God says he is with those who are patient. So automatically, if you are not patient, is God with you? The answer is no. So God is with those who are patient. Are you getting the logic here? He is with those who are patient. So if you are not patient, what happens? Is God with you? No, that is when the devil comes in. Because the devil knows you are in a hurry. And that is why some people sell their souls. You understand? Because they are desperate. They can't wait for the time of God. They are like, no, God is wasting time. I need this thing immediately, urgently. So let me just sell my soul and go for it. You get the point? So God is with those who are patient. Patient meaning people who are willing to understand God. They will get the things they need with time. So God says, invoke him, he will respond. But chapter 17, verse 11, the reason why I'm quoting this verse is the human being supplicates for evil as he supplicates for welfare. Now, You will see the human being telling God, God, give me a lot of money. Give me so much money that I cannot count. Are you crazy? Are you mad? If God gives you money that you cannot count, where are you going to keep it? In which bank? How? You tell me how. So the human being is just confused in the head, totally confused in the head, and he will go ahead to supplicate for things that are, you know, the stupid things, the dumbest things the human being will supplicate for, right? I remember, I give an example. I remember when I told God, when I needed a child, when I first needed a child, I was supplicating to God to give me a boy, first, like a boy. Then whilst I was supplicating for boy, then I changed the prayer and I started telling God, okay, God, you know what? Whatever you give me, whether boy or girl, you know best. So you decide. Understand? But in my head, I've pictured the notion of having a boy, how it feels like to have a boy. Then I realized that my father had 4 boys, right? My father had 4 boys, 4 in the family. He never had a girl. So he had 4 boys. And guess what? My father had been craving to have a girl all his life. He never had it. He craved so much to have a girl in our midst. He never had a girl. He craved it so much. He never had it. So he had 4 boys. So when it was my turn to have a child, I was thinking, oh God, maybe it will be fun to have a boy. We can play football. We can do things together. That's what I had in mind. Then I was thinking, okay, we get to talk about the Quran. I'll get to teach him certain things and, you know, and get him to think like me. And guess what? When I asked God to give me what he decided, he gave me a girl. So when he gave me a girl, and guess what? The love I had for the girl was so much, was even unimaginable. You understand? Unimaginable. Then the things that I wished that if I had a boy, that I had a boy, I will get to do with the boy. It happened to be the girl that I had. I was doing those things with her, and we were connecting. So till date, I connect more with my girl than the boy. Of course, my boy, there's a love, there's the, you know, but I connect more with the girl, you know, than the boy. You understand? So sometimes we are praying for something, but we think our choice or the things we are asking for is the better option. But when you put it in the hands of God, God will give you the best option. And this is what I learned from Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And I give you the example in Quran chapter 28, verse 24. This is what Musa told God. He told God this. I put it on the screen. This is what he told God. He said, God, he says, Lord, فَقَالَ Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khayri fakir. He says, indeed, Lord, indeed, I am in need of whatever you send down to me of good. So now, you are telling God to send down whatever is of good. You are in need of it. Now, do you think God will make the bad choice for you? No. So now, imagine you being a parent, a good parent, by the way, and then your child asks you to make a decision for them. Are you going to make a decision which will harm your child, or are you going to choose something for the child which is going to cause a problem? I'm just giving you an example, hypothetically. God is not our father, right? He is God. But I'm just giving you an example that if you put certain decisions in the hands of God to make for you, God will give you the best choice. He will give you the best decision. Are you getting my point? Sometimes we make certain decisions or we choose certain things we think that is good for us, but no. If you want God to do the best decision for you, you put things in the hands of God, then he decides for you. You understand? So that is why people like Zachariah, they pray to God and they ask for a miracle, a sign from God. Then God will decide what it is. Then you have the best of reward. Anyways, so going back to what, hey, Salam Salis, I see you, Salam. Yeah, thank you very much, Cruising to. Yes, my daughter is actually the kind of girl that she goes to school and the teacher gives assignments and it's too easy. She tells me, Baba, this is too easy. I hate it. It has to be difficult. And I'm like, oh, yeah? Yeah. So, yeah, wait for it. So, like I said, so this elder of mine, Hamza Malik, somebody we used to we respect each other. Even till now, there's the respect. It's just that he crossed a line that he actually took a shot that I was throwing to some people, and he took it upon himself, which I didn't understand his response in that, because he was supposed to actually get in touch with me before even saying anything about me. And like I tell you, babashuaib never does anything that I don't do anything that I cannot prove or I don't have evidences for it. But it seems that when people don't understand what I do or why I'm doing something, they are quick to judge. Remember, I always bring out the example of Prophet Moses, Quran chapter 18, verse 65. Please write it down and read up to verse 82. Remember, Moses was a prophet, right? But he went to another servant of God to seek knowledge, to learn something. Sometimes the perspective you are looking at things, you might think you are right, till you go and meet another person whom maybe God has gifted him more than you. Then you get to realize, oh, you are actually falling behind, or you are actually stupid. Yes, I'll give you examples to that. So, for instance, when you go to Quran chapter 21, let me put it on the screen. Quran chapter 21, verse 78. Let's use Solomon and David as an example. Quran chapter 21, verse 78. This is the verse on the screen. Yeah, salam, Zuleika, you're welcome. Quran chapter 21, verse 70. I'm just going to give you an example here. Also, David and Solomon, when they both judge concerning a tillage, that is a farmland, when the sheep of a people ruffled therein, and we were witnesses to their judgment. Now listen to what God says, the next verse. Verse 79. And we gave Solomon the understanding of it, or thereof. But we gave both judgment and knowledge. And we subjugated the mountains and the birds, glorifying with David, and we were the doers. Meaning God was in charge of everything. But now, what you get to understand from this verse is, an issue has happened, right, concerning somebody's farmland and somebody's sheep going to the farmland to ruffle, to eat, to destroy the farm, the tillage. Now, when it comes to the matters of judgment, God rather gave Solomon the understanding of it. It doesn't mean David didn't have knowledge. It doesn't mean he doesn't have wisdom. But the point is, according to God, above every possessor of knowledge, there is one who is more knowledgeable, right? So God gave Solomon the understanding. But remember, Solomon is the son of David. So David was the father, and Solomon is the son. But God rather gave Solomon the understanding thereof. So it doesn't necessitate just because you are an elder, so you have to know it better. No, it doesn't necessitate that way. The truth matters, as my elder will say, Hamza Malik. You said only the truth matters. So I'm going to prove to him again another mistake he did, right? When you step on babashuaib, you are stepping on the wrong foot, and I will prove to you that. And that is why I open up for dialogue. I'm open. Anybody, give me a call. Dialogue, we come. babashuaib, then we see. Yeah, no problem. Risha Green. So I'm going to show you another mishap he did. He said, the first one, he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. He says, when you say it, you are a mushrik. It is shirk. So it means when you say it, you are a mushrik. I prove him wrong on that. That is my previous video. Now I'm going to prove him wrong again. He says, Allahu Kabir. I said, God, you can call God Allahu al-Kabir, and I say, oh, Allahu Kabir. And he said, you can only say Al-Kabir, and you cannot say Kabir. We are going to see if he's right or wrong, because sometimes I can tell you he's above 80 years. So I think the old age sometimes is playing a role in his, So let's cut him some slack. So I'm going to show you his video. Then I'm going to prove to you that he actually didn't study the Quran deep enough. He might be old enough, but he never studied it deep enough. So babashuaib is going to prove to you that. So let's go to the video. So listen to his video here when he was throwing another shot at me.
His greatness, magnifying him. So now it says, proclaim his greatness, magnifying him. So we know what magnifying is. We know something called a magnifying glass. When you want to look at something real small, and you get this magnifying glass and you put it over it, and it makes it bigger. And the further you pull the glass away, the bigger the item becomes. So now the way Allah magnifies himself in the Quran is by calling himself Al-Kabir. Al-Kabir. That's the way he magnifies himself. Al-Kabir. So when you said Allahu Kabir, that's totally wrong. So therefore, my point is that I know about these attributes and how they work. Some people talk about them, but they never researched them. They never did that kind of study. They just pick up on sound bites and they run with them. They get a word and they run with it. They didn't do the research. So I just happen to not patting myself on the back or anything, but it's for my own soul. So I did the research for my own soul. I don't get paid to do what I do, and I'm not looking for any award. I'm looking for a reward. My reward is with Allah, not an award.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard my elder Hamza Malik. Like I said, we are going to cut him some slack. The first one, he says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim," is wrong. I prove him wrong on that, right? Okay. The second one now is Allahu Kabir. There is Allahul Kabir. You can say Allahul Kabir, or you can say Allahu Kabir. Both of it is correct. But he thought when you say Allahu Kabir, it is wrong. I'm going to prove to you that he didn't study the Quran properly. So let's go. So God himself, before I go to show you the evidence, God himself, this is what God says. Let's go back. First of all, we start with Quran chapter 17, verse 111. It is the instruction of God, not the instruction of babashuaib, that we should magnify God, right? It is not me insinuating that. God actually stated that. So in Quran chapter 17, verse 111, this is what God says. At the end of the verse, God says, it says, "Aqul alhamdulillahi lazi lam yattakhiz waladan wa lam yakul lahu sharikun fil mulk wa lam yakul lahu waliyyun min az-zull." Then he says, "Wakabbiruhu takbira." So this is an instruction to the messenger as to say, praise be to God, who does not have a son, nor does he have a partner in the dominion, nor does he have a guardian, out of humiliation. Then now, where the messenger was asked to say this thing is done. But now, and magnify him with magnification, meaning takbira. So if you take wakabbiruhu, meaning when you say Allahu Kabir, it is correct. When you say Allahul Kabir, it is still correct. And I'm going to show you the evidence, these two. So he said, when you say Allahu Kabir, not Allahul Kabir, I said both is correct. He said you have to only say Al-Kabir. You don't need to say Kabir. And I'm going to prove to him that he never studied the Quran properly. Right? So let's cut him some slack. Now, this is God's instruction. So it is not babashuaib just out of nowhere telling people to magnify God Allahul Kabir or Allahu Kabir. It is not me concocting that. And I'm going to prove to that. Now, apart from that, we go to chapter 74, verse 3. Again, God is instructing us. He's instructing the messenger. Remember, we are taking the example of the messenger to also follow. So God says, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. He says, and then magnify your Lord. Magnify. As for your Lord, magnify him. So when I say Allahul Kabir or Allahu Kabir, it is still correct. There is nothing wrong. Whether I say Al-Kabir or Kabir, it is still correct. And I'm going to prove that. Now, apart from that, what my elder here failed to realize is God does not only call himself names with only definite articles. Sometimes he uses a name and without a definite article. I'm going to prove that to you. So now, chapter 22, verse 62. We are going to check the ones with the definite article. Then we are going to go to the one without the definite article. But first of all, let's check this. God says, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنَّ مَا يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ. Then he says, هُوَ الْبَاطِلِ. Then he says, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْكَبِيرُ. So he says that is because God is the truth, and that what they invoke besides him is the falsehood, and that God is the supreme, the magnificent. So meaning, when you take the word huwa and wa anna Allah huwa, so you can see Allah huwa, this huwa can be taken away. Sometimes it says huwa al-aliyul kabir, and sometimes you can say inna Allah aliyul kabir, and it's still correct. So when you say Allahul Kabir, it's correct. Just like you can say Allahul Aliyu, Allahu Rahman, it is still correct. But you see, here comes with the definite article. So what Hamza Malik was missing is, he thought when I say you can say Allahu Kabir without the definite article, he said it is wrong. From the horse's own mouth, he said it is wrong. When I say you can call God Allahu Kabir without the definite article, I'm going to prove that to you. Don't worry. So the second one, we go to Quran chapter 31, verse 30. This one also comes with a definite article. You see, it is a similar verse to the verse I just came from. That is Quran chapter 22, verse 62. It is similar to this one. So God says, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهُ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنَّ مَا يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ الْبَاطِلِ. Then he says, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْكَبِيرُ. You can see, similar verse. Again. But this is Quran chapter 31, verse 30, and the other one is 22, verse 62. So now I'm going to show you where you can use the Kabir without a definite article. Quran chapter 4, verse 34. This is it. In Quran chapter 34, chapter 4, verse 34, it says, oh, let me see. Am I putting the verse begin now? In Quran chapter 4, verse 34, this is what God says. It says, الرجال القوامون قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض. Then he says وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Then he says فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. Then he says واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فَإِذُوهُنَّ وَاجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَدَاجِ. Then he says, وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ. Now it says, فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَاكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. Then he says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. Do you see here? إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ Aliyan Kabira. In Quran chapter 31, verse 30, in Quran chapter 22, verse 62, he says, Huwal Aliyun Al Kabir. There comes with the definite article. Now again, the same God is giving you a similar instance, but without a definite article. So it is telling you, Inna Allah Kana, it means indeed God is. You understand? God is supreme and what? And magnificent. Without a definite article, it is still defining God. So I can say Allahu Kabir without a definite article, and I can still say Allahu Al-Kabir with a definite article. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand? So my elder the old age is taking him over. He thinks he has studied it very well. So let's go back to his own words to see the mishap he actually created. He didn't study the Quran well enough, right? So let's go back. This is what he said. This is what Hamza Malik said.
His greatness, magnifying him. So now it says, proclaim his greatness, magnifying him. So we know what magnifying is. We know something called a magnifying glass. When you want to look at something real small, and you get this magnifying glass and you put it over it and it makes it bigger. And the further you pull the glass away, the bigger the item becomes. So now the way Allah magnifies himself in the Quran is by calling himself Al-Kabir. Al-Kabir.
So you see, then he says, by God calling himself Al-Kabir, Brother Hamza Malik doesn't know that God even called himself Kabira without Al-Kabir, without the definite article. He never knew that. So he has to go back to study the Quran before coming to throw shades at babashuaib. He hasn't studied enough, right? So Al-Kabir is correct. And Kabir is also correct. That is why God himself, what he says, وَكَبِّرُهُ تَكْبِيرًا. He has given you the options there, and he showed you how to call him. It can be Kabir or it can be Al-Kabir. Are you getting the point? So now listen to Hamza Malik when he said, I was wrong to say Allahu Kabir without the definite article.
That's the way he magnifies himself, Al-Kabir. So when you said Allahu Kabir, that's totally wrong. So
then he says, when I say Allahu Kabir without the Al, he says that is totally wrong. Well, Brother Hamza Malik, you have to study the Quran well before you come throwing that jabs at me. You are not in the right again. The first one, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, I push your claims to the trash. The second one, Allahu Kabir, I give people options because based on my study of the Quran, I brought it out. And I say you can say Allahu Kabir, you are still right. And I can say you can say Allahu Kabir, and it's still correct. You said that Allahu Kabir is wrong. Well, you are rather in the wrong, not me. So please study enough, because here in this video, you almost shamed yourself by saying you studied enough. Listen to what you said.
Well, my point is that I know about these attributes and how they work. Some people talk about them, but they never researched them. They never did that kind of study. They just pick up on sound bites and they run with them. They get a word and they run with it. They didn't do the research. So I just happen to not patting myself on the back or anything, but it's for my own soul. So I did the research for my own soul.
No, you haven't finished the research, unfortunately. Brother Hamza Malik, you did the research, but you are not done. And you see, this is what babashuaib I keep telling my opponents. Like, if you want to become a rival, my opposition, please study enough before you throw shades at me or you step on my toes, right? I watch you just like you watch me. And I can tell you, I master the art of double checking you more than you check me. So whatever you think you are coming with, I've already prepared the weapons on the side, because I know all of you are watching, especially the people who are coming for my neck. Yes. So I get prepared for all of your hibijibis. I know you have your hula balloons and the hibijibis on the side. You don't pay attention to your hibijibis. Yes. So if you come to me, I'm going to show you the loopholes in your understanding, always. So this is how I'll be taking all of you one by one when you come at me, right? To show you the loopholes in your understanding and your logic. So go back and study Quran chapter 4, verse 34. You can actually say God, you can call God Allahu Kabir. There's nothing wrong. Okay, so that is Hamza Malik. When I have time, I will go in deeper on his videos when he did against me, right? To just show him that he's just sitting on one side thinking he knows something. Yeah, but you have a lot to learn as well. Right? Just because you don't have understanding on something doesn't mean the other person is wrong. Just because it's beyond your imagination or understanding. So I keep using Musa alayhi salam as an example. Quran chapter 18, verse 65. Read up to verse 82. You understand? Moses thinks he knows it all by challenging somebody who has also been gifted with knowledge from God. You understand? You might see it from your perspective as wrong, but the moment the person opens up the other side of knowledge you have never thought of, that is when you look stupid. Seriously. So when you are coming against babashuaib, seriously, my phone number is there. Don't make it difficult. Just call. It's here. Call. Let's have a dialogue. One-on-one. babashuaib will bring you, and let's face it out. Then we see if babashuaib knows what he's saying or he doesn't know what he's saying. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is the phone number on the screen. It's time for Q&A session. You can phone in, call in to ask your question. I think we will have like 1.5 hours to do that segment. Now it's almost one hour into the program. So you can call me via WhatsApp or you can call direct call. For those on TikTok, I'll be coming to TikTok after this session. But if you want to call directly, the number is +358 466 803144. +358 466 803144. So you can call via WhatsApp and you're welcome. Thank you. You can call, I'm waiting. And by the way, also somebody asked me a question earlier concerning, I think, Quran chapter 53, verse 15 to verse 18, concerning Prophet Muhammad seeing a vision. People thought Prophet Muhammad actually went up to the sky with his whole body. That's not it. He saw a vision. So the vision has been summarized in Quran chapter 17, verse 60. It was a vision God showed him, right? So it wasn't as if he went to the sky by his own personal body and he's in the sky. No. So stop thinking as if he's a Superman or how will I say, Marvel? Is it Marvel or Avengers or something? No. Yeah, no. He saw a vision, not a physical traveling, or that the mushriks will keep telling you he went to we say Isra he was the Mi'raj. They keep lying to themselves. They say things they don't even understand. Mr. Cruising Tooth says, I would love your opinion on the matter or Injil Torah and of it being there at the time of Muhammad. Big topic on TikTok right now, Baba. Somebody is calling from India. Let me see. Why is the call not coming directly here? That is strange. Let me call the person back here.
Hello.
Yes, salam to you, brother.
Salam, brother. I'm from India. I just mailed you. I think you have not checked.
When did you send me email?
Like 10 days before.
10.
Okay.
10 days before on my Hotmail email, I have about 22 emails. I was reading through. I answered some of them recently. So I'm answering from the older dates, because I think when I came back from Ghana, I became very busy. So I hardly had time to go through some of the emails. So don't worry, I'll go through. But if it's a question, you can ask me now concerning that. But if not, I will find time to answer your email, inshallah.
No, Shubha. I will just ask you some. I'm having some doubts that, in India, there is a rapid growth in this ex-Muslim. Okay. Here, big communities are growing in the name of ex-Muslims, and they're claiming hell. They are removing the verses from the Quran, and they are telling something that it is like, shall I tell you? They are taking one verse and they are explaining about that verse, and it is making sense who are looking for their videos or their lectures.
You mean the ex-Muslims?
Yeah, ex-Muslims in India. It is growing well.
Oh, no. See. Quran chapter 6, verse 116 says, if you obey most of the people on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God. Do you know the reason why?
Tell me, please.
The reason is because they are only following assumption and they are only guessing.
Okay.
A lot of the
My
verses,
brother can.
a lot of the verses they
Sorry,
will
sorry.
take, a lot of the verses they will take from the Quran, they plug it out of context and then formulate their own understanding to it. It is not a verse that they will take and read the context to make sense out of it. You understand?
My brother, can you just explain me one thing about this Zaid concept? What is the fact, real fact?
The Zaid,
the marriage about Zaid.
The marriage concerning Zaid. Yeah, I can give you Quran chapter 33, verse 37. In order to read, in order to read this verse, what I want people to do is you need to understand issues concerning adopted children first. So in the same chapter, when you read verse 5, verse 4 to verse 5, you get to understand the concept of adopted children. So now let me show you how people need to understand this before they can address the topic of Zaid. If you don't understand this, you are going to confuse everything. So let me put the verse on the screen. Now, can you see my screen? Are you watching live?
Yes, my brother.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
One second. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Now I'm going to read about 2 or 3 verses before I go to verse 37 so that it will make sense to you, right? Now, God says, God did not make for any man 2 hearts in his venter, nor has he made your wives, whom you distinct from them, your mothers, nor has he made your adopted sons your children. So your adopted son, according to God, is not your child. It is just based on our worldly life, we actually say, this is my son. You know, sometimes a person goes to adopt a son, then they take their surname and give it to the adopted child. Are you aware of that?
Can you repeat once?
I said many a times in our this worldly life we live in now, some people will go and adopt a child, and then they will use their own surname and give it to the adopted child.
Yes, that is the 100% fact. Everyone does that.
Thank you. Now, God is the God who created you. He's saying that, listen to what he said. God did not make for any man 2 hearts in his venter, nor has he made your wives, whom you distinct from them, your mothers. God did not render our wives to become our mothers. Neither did he put 2 hearts into a man. Neither did he render our adopted children as your biological children. He never did that. It is us doing all this. Then he says, that is your statement with your mouths, for God speaks the truth. Then he says, and he guides to the way. Now I continue verse 5. Then God says, call them, that is the adopted children you have, call them by their fathers, meaning by their father's surname. The original father who gave birth to that child, use that name, that surname of that father to give to the child, because that child is not your biological son. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
then we continue. Then God says, it is more equitable in front of God. But if you do not know their fathers, then they are your brethren in the religion. These brethren in religion, that's according to God, they are still not your son. It's not your biological son. It's rather your brethren in the religion. And your heirs, meaning that same adopted child can actually become your heir, meaning can inherit from you because you adopted them as your child. But that child can inherit you. But then, and God says, and there is no blame on you concerning what you have done incorrectly about it, unless what your hearts have done deliberately. And God is forgiving and merciful. Okay. Now, these 2 verses I just read, it is clarifying the notion of adopted child to you, where adopted child stands in your life, what position an adopted child has. So now I'm going to jump with you to verse 37. to go and see, many a times you see the atheists, agnostic, and Christians saying that Prophet Muhammad married the wife of his son.
Yes, yes,
and then you hear them saying Prophet Muhammad married the wife of his adopted son. Now that is a stupid statement, and I'm going to prove to you right now. Now, chapter 33, verse 37. Then God now told the messenger, and when you told the one whom God had favored and whom you favored, that keep your wife to yourself and reference God. And God says, and you concealed within yourself what God had expressed, and you feared the people, while God is worthier to be feared. And when Zaid had finished with her objectively, meaning Zaid is no more married with her. Remember, Muhammad hid this information. He never told Zaid. Are you paying attention?
Yes, yes, my brother.
I'm going up again so that you get the clear concept here. And when you told the one whom God had favored and whom you favored that keep your wife, Muhammad was even advocating that Zaid should keep his wife. He shouldn't divorce her. Are you listening?
Okay,
then he says,
can you tell me once again the last two lines?
Which last two lines?
Just now you told that Prophet Muhammad was just addressing.
Yeah, the Prophet Muhammad was supposed to tell Zaid about what God wants. He didn't tell Zaid that. He rather told him opposite of what God wanted him to say. But now we are going to understand what happened. Did he tell Zaid to divorce his wife? Or did he tell him to keep his wife? So now check the verse. And when you told the one whom God had favored and whom you favored that keep your wife to yourself and reference God, and you concealed within yourself what God had expressed. So what God expressed was rather Zaid should divorce his wife, but Zaid, Prophet Muhammad rather didn't deliver that message. He rather did what? He rather told Zaid to keep his wife. Then God now cautioned the prophet, and he says, and you fear the people while God is worthier to be feared. Because Muhammad is scared that if he tells his adopted son to divorce his wife, and then he goes to marry, the people, he's scared of what people might think. So he's afraid. He didn't express what God wanted him to express. So now God says, while God is worthier to be feared, and when Zaid had finished with her objectively, so does it mean it was the prophet who told Zaid to divorce his wife? Rafiq.
Can you repeat once again, because your voice was on mute.
My voice was on mute? How did I go on mute?
I didn't hear.
I said the verse I just read. If you can see, that's why I'm asking you, can you see the screen? If you can see the screen.
Sir, I have just opened in laptop.
Okay. If you can see the screen, in the verse, is there anywhere in the verse where Muhammad told Zaid to divorce his wife?
No.
Thank you. So now, when Zaid had finished with his wife objectively, meaning they are no more married. Now, if they are no more married, is she still considered the wife of Zaid?
No, my brother.
Thank you. So now, since Zaid has finished with her objectively, then God says, we married her to you, so that it will not become guilt upon the believers concerning the wives of their adopted sons. Because according to God, your adopted son is not considered as your biological son, according to God. So what Muhammad did is he married the ex-wife, not the wife, the ex-wife of his adopted son. And he wasn't the one who told Zaid to divorce his wife. This is what God wanted him to say, but he couldn't say it. He couldn't mention that. Because God already saw, because God knows the future already. He knows Zaid was not interested in his wife. Sometimes we have people who can get married, but they don't love each other. We have people who can get married, but there's no love. There's no something that connects them anymore. So God, knowing that, he wanted to express that through the prophet by telling Zaid that since you don't love your wife, divorce her. But prophet was scared to say it. So he never mentioned anything to Zaid. So it was Zaid who actually ended the marriage objectively without Muhammad interfering in anything. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So now
Yes,
Muhammad
yes,
actually married the ex-wife of his adopted son. What is the mistake? What is the wrong thing there? How is it illegal? And where did God say it is wrong? And if God never said it is wrong, why are the atheists and Christians and whatever having issues with somebody marrying the ex-wife of his adopted son, not biological son? What wrong has the prophet done in that verse? Tell me.
Yeah. My brother, can I speak for 1 minute?
Okay.
Just a same question I have asked for that ex-Muslim on his live stream. Then what he told was, he told me that why the Prophet Muhammad verses will come, like ayats will come in the favor of Prophet Muhammad. They were telling that Prophet Muhammad was bringing the ayats whenever he wants, whenever that verse want to favor him. At that time, he was bringing the verses.
Did he bring the verse to Zaid? Did he bring any statement to Zaid? Did he deliver that?
No. There is nothing evidence that he delivered to Zaid.
Thank you.
In Hadith, they have told something. The stories.
Now, when you are talking to babashuaib, don't talk about garbage books here.
No, I know that.
Yeah, talk to me about the fresh book, the refreshing book. That is the Quran, the sweet book. You understand? The book which smells and tastes like perfume. Yes, that is Quran. Talk to me about that book. The book that God says, Inna hazal Quran yadi lillati hiya aqwam. Quran chapter 17 verse 9. Talk to me about this book, the Quran. Don't talk to me about garbage books.
Brother, I am having another one question.
Okay.
I have seen your video on you are telling about that to ask for the Maulanas or Maulvis about the namaz. If it was mentioned in the Quran, then why Prophet Muhammad went to the sky to bring the prayers, right? You told in one shorts.
I was talking about the 5 namaz, the 5 salats. They say it is in the Quran.
Yes.
Yeah, the 5 salat. They said it is in the Quran. If it is in the Quran, why Muhammad has to go to the heavens again?
I asked same question, but they told me that at that time the namaz was not have not come in the Quran. That's why after going there later on it came in Quran.
They should bring the hadith where it says that. Did they give you the hadith where it says that?
No, I will ask for the reference and I will just send you in WhatsApp. Okay?
Let me show you how to catch their lies. They will start formulating, giving you answers, what the Prophet never said, what even the Sahaba never said, what their scholars never said. They will now use their own whims and desires to give you answers. They will say at that time, the Prophet didn't receive these. Tell them, give me the proof where it says that. At that time, he didn't receive anything. Huh?
Yes, my brother.
You ask them. This is how they lie. They will keep twisting words, lying to you. When you ask them a question, then they will try to use their opinions, but then they will say in Islam, don't use opinion. But why is it the Islam they have is full of the opinions of scholars?
Like if you're, can I share you one video?
If it is not long enough, you can share to me on my WhatsApp. If it's not long, sometimes I struggle to watch long videos because I have a lot of things to do.
I think you won't understand Hindi, right?
Does it have a translation?
Subtitles.
Subtitles.
Mm, let me check. Because these guys, what they are doing, like I also just fall in their trap for some time, not for like long. Whenever they are showing the proof, later on I came to understand that hadiths are all written after the 150 or 200 years after the Prophet, and that was written
Melanie,
by
I see you.
Bukhari and sorry.
No, not you.
Okay, and Bukhari, who wrote the hadith, he was about 16 to 18 years in between this. A child wrote the hadith. He started writing.
Yeah, a child.
I have
Bukhari,
seen
even Bukhari
Yes.
was 16 years when he started writing hadith. I don't know why somebody would
And
take a teenager like that
my
seriously.
brother, I will tell you one thing. This and the Bukhari was the Persian, right?
Yes, Bukhari and Muslim, they are all Persians. And
Correct.
they never met the Prophet. Anyways, brother Rafiq, it's okay. We have over 15 minutes now. It's almost 20 minutes. Please let me give other people the chance. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. Yeah. Peace. This brother, what is his name? Brother Sufyan from China, right? This brother calling, just thoughts, I'll get back to you. Just thoughts, I'll get back to you, please. Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, salam to you, my brother. You're
Salam,
calling
brother.
from
My name is Sufyan
from
Bangladesh.
From Bangladesh, okay. So
Yes.
Sufyan, how may I help you?
Yeah, brother, I have a confusion regarding some verses. I'm gonna mention you the verses. So it is.
Hey, how many verses? Is it
well,
like?
my-
Is it a lot of verses?
Yeah, a lot of verses, but
Hey!
connected to one question.
If it's a lot, when are we going to finish?
No, it's not gonna take a long time. Trust me.
Okay,
Just,
I hope so. Yeah, salam to you, Melanie. Yeah.
Okay, brother.
Sweet
it is,
dreams.
Surah Baqarah, verse 29.
Surah Baqarah.
Fussilat,
Please mention them
verse
one by
29.
one. What is it you want to ask? Can you be specific with your question?
Yeah. I just want to ask that could you please provide me step by step how the heavens and the earth was created?
I have a video on that.
Oh, okay.
There was a video I did on that. Let me see. Can I see the topic of the video? I think I have a video on that. Somebody called British Muslim did the video on that, and I gave him a response. It's called the British Muslim. Let me see. I can give you the link. I just want to see the title. I did a rebuttal against some of his claims. Yes, I found it. The
But
topic.
does it match with the modern science?
Yes. I'm sharing the link to you right now.
Okay.
The title of the video is A Response to British Conservative.
Okay.
Yes, on the that is on the Quran, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the title. So let me see if I can put it on the page. Then people can search the video and see it for themselves.
Okay. So are you gonna answer here, or should I watch the video?
Oh, I will recommend you, because I've already given a breakdown on that video concerning that, concerning the creation of the heavens and the earth. I gave him a response, a full response, a breakdown. So I will recommend you rather watch the video. Let me see if I can put it on the page. People can, just a second. I share it on the page where people can also hear. Can people see my page? For those on Facebook and YouTube, this is how it looks like. When you search in my videos, it has a flag like the flag of England, and then with my logo on the side. And then the title is A Response to British Conservative on the Quran. That is the title. So look for it. It's in my playlist, the live playlist. You'll find the video there. I gave the response concerning the heavens and the earth, creation of the heavens and the earth. There is no contradiction It is just that when you have an agnostic, an atheist, and so on, and they want to actually tamper with the verses, they tamper with it without knowledge. They don't even have any understanding in the Arabic language. So they take every jumbles of a version of translation out there to just mix up anything. You understand? So I sent you the link. So kindly watch after this, then you get your answer. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you another question, brother?
Your last question, yes.
Okay, brother. I have dialogues with my friends, and he's a mushrik, he's a Sunni. So he always tells me that we have to follow and obey Muhammad, peace be upon him, but we don't have to follow the other prophets because they were sent for specific nations, but Muhammad is sent for the whole mankind. But I don't believe that. I believe that all the prophets and messengers were important for us and were sent for the whole mankind. So can you show me some verses that gives such kind of proofs?
First of all, we are supposed to follow Muhammad and Ibrahim, because Muhammad, as a prophet and a messenger, he followed Ibrahim, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the evidences to that. So first of all, we go to Quran chapter 3, verse 67. In Quran chapter 3, verse 67, I put the verse on the screen.
Okay.
I put the verse on the screen. This is the verse. So God says, Abraham was neither a Jew nor a Christian, but he was an Orthodox Muslim. That is an Orthodox submitter, Hanifa Muslima. And he was not of the mushriks, that is idol worshippers. He was not part of them. Then God says, indeed, the foremost of people to Abraham are those who followed him and this prophet, and those who believe. And God is the ally of the believers, right? So whoever follows Abraham and this prophet, which is Prophet Muhammad, and the believers, those are the allies of God, right? So now, why is God saying Abraham and this prophet? Because this prophet in Quran chapter 16, verse 123, he has been asked to follow Abraham. So in Quran chapter 16, verse 1 to 3, chapter 16, verse 1 to 3, says, then we inspire to you, that is the messenger, to follow the creed of Abraham orthodoxly, for he was not of the polytheists. So he has been instructed to follow the creed of Abraham. And then he himself confessed that he is following the creed of Abraham in Quran chapter 6, verse 161. So this is what he says. He says, indeed, my Lord has guided me to a straight path, an upright religion, the creed of Abraham, the Orthodox, for he was not of the idolaters. You understand? Then after that, this same prophet now told us who we should follow. Quran chapter 3, verse 95. Then he himself now told us, say, God has told the truth. So follow the creed of Abraham, the Orthodox, for he was not of the polytheists. So now, my brother, what is your name again? Sufyan? Oh?
Yes, brother. Yes,
okay.
Brother.
Sufyan, if God is actually inspiring Muhammad, peace be upon him, to follow the creed of Abraham, and then Muhammad himself confessed that he followed the creed of Abraham, and then Muhammad himself now told the people to follow the creed of Abraham, you tell me, who are we supposed to follow now?
Yeah, Abraham.
Thank you. So whoever follows Muhammad is following Abraham, because Muhammad followed what Abraham did. So whatever Muhammad will do that is not in the creed of Abraham, are we supposed to follow it?
Yeah, we should follow the creed of Abraham.
It is Abraham we have to follow. So if Muhammad will do something which is not part of the creed of Abraham, we cannot follow that.
Yeah.
Are you getting the logic? Yes. So whatever Muhammad does has to be in conformity with the creed of Abraham. If he doesn't, then we cast it out.
Yeah.
So that is the answer then.
Oh, brother, can you see verse 333, chapter 3, verse 33?
This should be your last question, because I have three people on the queue.
This is not a question. This is related to the second question, actually.
This is your third question, actually.
This is chapter 3, verse 33.
Okay, chapter 3, verse 33. What is it you want to know?
Does that mean Adam and Noah was also sent for the whole mankind?
God never said they were sent to mankind. God says, indeed, God chose Adam. He chose him for a specific purpose, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He chose Noah for a specific purpose, and he chose the family of Abraham for another purpose, and he chose the family of Amram over all people.
Yeah.
Now, in the Quran, did God ever say Amram was a prophet? The answer is no. But God chose his family. So just like he chose Adam to be the father of nations, that's how he chose Noah to also represent something else. And he chose the family of Abraham to represent something else. And he chose the family of Amram over all people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the verse means. Look, sometimes when we are reading verses, let me show you how to read verses to understand better. In Quran chapter 10, verse 82. Sorry, Quran chapter 10, verse 82. In order to understand the verses of God, God says, and God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. Whenever we are reading the verses, let's take the external understandings from outside, external sources, or people's opinion. Let's take it out. Let's allow the verses of God to speak on its own first.
Yeah.
Then we will get the clarity, the simplicity. Just like the caller who called before from India concerning the adopted son of the prophet. If you allow the verse to speak, you will get the clarity like this. It's like magic, like this. But when you let other books or other opinions or other scholars influence your understanding, then it becomes difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is how it goes. So when you are understanding a verse on its own, sometimes you need to check the context. If you don't see the context, it can be in another chapter. If it's not in another chapter, just examine the statement on how God said it. Then you take it as it is. That is how it works. So thank you very much, brother.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for your time.
Yes, you're welcome. Let me give another.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I sent you the link so you can check after this.
Yeah. Salam.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much, Shurulini. I appreciate that. Okay. Somebody was called. Okay, Mom Khadija, let me call you back. Sparrow, I'll call you back, please. Let me call somebody who was in the queue already. Hey, Salam, Sheikh Samsung.
Hello?
Peace to you, Mom.
Hello?
My mom from the United States.
Oh, no, I can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? Salam. Can you hear me?
I hear you a little teeny bit.
Do you have a headset on? Do you have some mic or headset?
No, I'm just on my phone with no headset. But I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you sounding clearly.
Okay, good. I just want to ask a question. First of all, I'm glad you picked up my call.
Yes. There's a lot of people on the queue. That's why the people
I know.
keep calling. Yes.
Yes. Well, I wanted to ask you a question about Salat.
Sure.
Is dua the same? Is dua considered Salat? Because I'm always told that I have to go to the hellfire because I didn't keep up all the 5 prayers, and that Salat is an obligation, but it's the ritual Salat. So I'm confused. Is dua considered Salat?
Dua is a package that is found in Salat.
Okay.
But not necessarily dua meaning Salat. No, I can do dua without actually needing to follow any ritualistic procedure or something. I can do dua without that.
Okay.
But when it comes to the Salat is something which has been programmed, and it didn't start with us. The prophets were establishing Salat. So this is why it says it's a ritual. It is not about the 5 daily prayers and the way they did it. That's what we are talking about. No, not that. We are talking about the conformity of the procedure coming passed down from the prophets down to us. That is what makes it a ritual.
Well, I don't mind doing the ritual, but I'm trying to find out exactly what is the ritual, because I was taught over here in America by some Egyptian people of how to make Salat. And so then I'm told if I don't do Salat like that for the 5 times, I have to go to the hellfire. So I'm trying to figure out.
So that's what I'm saying. Those one is for the sectarians. Forget about the 5 times. Forget about how they do it. It's not, that has nothing to do with the Quran.
Okay, so how do I do it? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Thank you. You do it based on the example laid down by God, how the prophets do it. Standing, bowing down in prostration, reciting verses while standing, then you bow down in prostration by glorifying God. And then
my leg hurts.
Your leg hurts. Then you can just sit down and do it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's no restriction as for saying you must stand up. For people who can stand, they can stand. If you can't, you can sit down and do it. For people who are even sitting on wheelchair, they can still do their prayer. And as a matter of fact, Quran chapter 2, verse 238 to 239, according to God, if you are in fear, you can do your salat by walking or by riding. So meaning, if you are riding, you can still do salat. If you are walking, you can still do salat.
But only if you're scared, right?
That is if you are in fear. So if you are in fear, the context is if you are in fear based on what? It can be any type of fear. If I'm fear, my leg will break.
Because I love it. I mean, I miss making sajda, but I can't do it anymore. So I was really worried about that. Okay. And the last question is for when you get that early morning prayer.
Yeah.
Are we obligated to do that? Like if I'm sleeping past that, is there do I make it up when I get up, or is it
if it's gone, it's gone.
But is it a sin? Is it like something that's going to just...
No, you are sleeping. If you're sleeping and it's gone, it's not considered a sin.
Oh, okay. Because they make it so difficult.
Yeah. I give an example. If you read Quran chapter 18, verse 9 to verse 21, verse 9, and you read up to verse 21, you saw the youth who slept in the cave, and God mentioned that they slept for so many years.
Yes.
They had a masjid in their time. There was a masjid at their time. Yes. When you read up to verse 21, you realize there was a masjid built for them. Now, in their time, imagine sleeping for over 300 years, and then you have to compensate for a missed salat. Can you do that?
Oh my God, never.
So according to the Quran, they slept for over 300 years. So now how can they make up the missed salat? They can't. So when you are sleeping and it passes you, you don't control the sleep. Because remember, God says, do not approach the salat while you are intoxicated. And intoxicated doesn't necessarily mean you are drunk. You can be intoxicated by sleep.
I am.
Oh, exactly. People feel intoxicated while they are watching TV even. And they get intoxicated and fall asleep. So intoxication has nothing to always do about alcohol or drink. Some people can take a painkiller, a pill, and then they get intoxicated.
Absolutely.
So according to God, whilst you are intoxicated, don't approach the salat. So meaning if I'm sleeping, that means the intoxication of sleep has taken me away and it's gone. And I'm gone. But if I know what the benefit of what I'm getting, I can set an alarm that can wake me up. And usually usually when the alarm wakes you up, you become alive. Like while you are awake.
I don't. I'm still tired. I'm like just really out of it. It's just I have a sleeping disorder.
No, I understand. When that happens, you are not to be blamed because it's not like yes. So you are not to be blamed when you sleep. The only thing you are guilty if you let entertainment or business or any other activity distract you from salat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and it is the 3 times, and it's before sunset and before sunrise.
Before
sunrise and before sunset.
Yes, and within the night.
So within the night, is it considered after 12 o'clock?
It can be 12 o'clock your time when it's very dark.
Okay. All right, then. I'm not going to hold you up.
Yes.
Oh, I appreciate you taking my call. Love you. I miss you.
Love you, Mom. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Peace. So people who are calling me, I couldn't, get hold of. Let me go in order by the numbers who are calling, please. This person called. Oh, Alex Belgium, you are overtaking the queue. Can I please pick in order, please, in order that the people called? Yeah, wa alaikum salam, brother. Your name and where you're calling from?
Meher, and I'm calling from the American Tennessee.
What did you say? Name is Meher?
Meher.
Meher.
Yes.
Okay. How may I help you, brother?
Yeah. So, quick question. So I know you don't believe in the funeral prayer and whatnot, but I don't either.
You say I don't believe in what?
The funeral prayer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't either. But me and my brother was talking about it, and he brought up this one verse that I kind of, I'm wondering about. I understand the funeral prayer isn't a thing, but what about dua to the dead? Let's say you want to visit the graveyard or the grave site of a dead person, a loved one, and you want to give them dua. Is that a thing in Islam?
The person who died, is he a Muslim?
Yes. For example, yes.
Okay. Look, I'm going to give you a verse so that you understand implications of that. In Quran chapter 3, verse 102, in Quran chapter 3, verse 102, God says, can I please mute you?
Yes, yes.
Just a second. Okay. Guys, can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Brother, can you hear me when I speak? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
So when I muted you, did you hear me?
I could, yeah.
Okay, so good. So now let me go chapter 3, verse 102. It says, "Oh, you who believe, reference God as he deserves to be referenced, and do not die except while you are Muslims." Do not die except whilst you are Muslims. Meaning, if you die while being a Muslim, you have succeeded. And when we say Muslim, not the ones doing the 5 daily prayers, and I'm not talking about those ones are mushriks. I'm talking about Muslim in terms of submitting to God as Abraham did, because you are supposed to follow the creed of Abraham, right? So Quran chapter 2 verse 130, God says, "Woman yargabu an millata Ibrahim illa man safiha nafsahu." Who will desire other than the creed of Abraham, if not one who fools himself? It is only a fool who will choose a different creed other than what God is asking him to choose. Now, praying for a Muslim who is dead, if the person is a Muslim and he's a believer, this is what God says. In Quran chapter 16, verse 32, when a believer is dying, somebody who dies as a Muslim, God says, those whom the angels will cause their death in goodness, they, the angels, will say, "Peace be upon you. Enter the garden for what you have done." Enter the garden for what you have done. Now, brother, I'm going to unmute you. Are you with me?
Yes. Yeah, I gave him the same verse. But the verse that he gave me initially was chapter 9, verse 84.
We will go to that. Wait, we will go to that. But now I'm saying a believer died. That believer who has already died has already been guaranteed that he is going to paradise. Now you tell me, what supplication or prayer do I need to do again for this kind of person to be saved again? And by the way, according to God, on the day of judgment, you will only be saved by your achievement, not by anybody's prayer or supplication. This is what the Quran says. Quran says,
yeah, I said the same thing.
Quran chapter 39, verse 60 to 61, it says, "On the day of resurrection, you will see those who lied about God with their faces blackened. Is there no abode in hell for the arrogant ones?" Verse 61, "And God will rescue those who were pious by their achievements. No evil will touch them, nor will they grieve." That is on the day of judgment. So now, what prayer again do I need to do for this fellow to be saved? Because he's already saved by his achievement.
So you would think that you would rely on the mercy of Allah on the day of judgment, not on the dua of people, because that's kind of like a cheat code, like you described one time.
Exactly. So you rely on your deeds. So now here, that is why God says on the day of judgment, He's going to weigh our scale.
Yes.
Are you getting me? So if it is about prayer, then why will God weigh our scale? And why is He going to show us our records if it's about prayer? Please.
That's very true.
Yes, brother, when you write exams, don't they provide your results to you in your hands?
Yes.
So on the day of judgment, this is what God says. Quran chapter 17, verse 13. Sorry. I put the verse on the screen. Chapter 17, verse 13 to 14. This is what God says. God says, for every human, he says, for every human, we have fastened his omen to his neck, and we will bring forth a record for him on the day of his resurrection, which he will encounter spread out. Then God will say, read your record. Your soul is sufficient today as a recorder over you. So now you tell me, if this person you say you are going to pray for when he's dead, and you are going to say, God, forgive him. God, do this. So God is going to wipe out these deeds. And on the day of judgment, what is God going to give him to read?
I want to ask you. So, like the Sunnis that really do hardcore believe their religion and whatnot, and they die and they meet God. Well, what, like, is it all just like we have to rely that they be merciful with those who are Sunnis? Like, you know, I have family members who are Sunni, and if they die as Sunni, then it's like, what's going to happen to them?
This is what God says to a mushrik. Chapter 39, verse 65. This is what he says. When somebody dies whilst being a mushrik, God told the prophet, and it has certainly been inspired to you and to those before you that if you associate others, your work will become worthless and you will be among the losers.
Even though they believed in everything, but mushriks don't know they're mushriks.
This is what God says. This is what God says again. Quran chapter 12, verse 106. And most of them do not believe in God except while they are mushriks.
So do they know they're mushriks?
They know. Those are the ones telling you you can never follow Islam without Hadith books.
I mean, because if you call them a mushriks, they're like, "There's no way that I am one." They honestly believe they're.
No, they get offended when you say they are mushrik. They get offended.
They get offended. That's a hard one to.
Yeah, when somebody gets offended, is guilty. If you, babashuaib is not a criminal. If you call me a criminal, I'll be laughing at you.
If you get offended, you're guilty.
That's the point.
What if it's just out of disrespect? They see it as a form of disrespect.
It's not a disrespect, it's a fact. Let me tell you something about how the truth sounds. The reason why God says in Quran chapter 43, verse 78, we have brought you the truth, but most of you hate the truth. Do you know why a person hates the truth?
Because it goes against the desire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You understand? Number one, why call themselves Sunnis?
Yeah, well, why be a sect?
Who gave them that name? Who said he should become a Sunni? Was the prophet a Sunni?
Yeah, no, they claim to be a Sunni or anything of the sort.
You understand? So they created a parallel religion having indoctrinations or doctrines which has nothing to do with Islam. That in the first place, that makes you a mushrik, because you have created a parallel religion to the Islam of God.
Well, okay, so going back to chapter 9, verse 84, why does Allah say, don't even pray on the grave?
Okay, so let's assume hypothetically the verse is talking about prayer. Let's assume it's talking about prayer. But if it is talking about prayer, he says, do not pray. So where does he say, okay, pray?
It's an indirect assumption that means that that's what they used to do to people's graves.
Where does it say? Where does it say in the Quran that they pray?
It doesn't. Like I said, it's an assumption based on the statements.
Thank you. And God says, look, this is what he says in Quran chapter 10, verse 36, concerning assumption. God says, and most of them follow only assumption. Indeed, assumption does not avail against the truth at all. Indeed, God is aware of what they do. So is it the truth we are going to follow or assumption?
I understand. So why did Allah say that?
And I'm saying, thank you. It is mistranslation. Assuming if they translated it well, they will not be talking about prayer in that verse. It is not about prayer.
Okay, so what is it about? What is Allah telling them not to do?
Thank you.
Exactly.
God says, do not ever reach out to anyone dying among them. Meaning, when somebody on his deathbed, you know, normally when somebody is on his deathbed, we all go next to the person, especially to just communicate with the person. And especially this, the sectarians, they have a notion of going to somebody's deathbed and then they will tell him, say la ilaha illallah, say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, or ashhadu anna Muhammadan, and here you go to paradise. They think paradise is that cheap. So they will keep going to the person, oh, say ashhadu. The right to salli. Salli is an act of communicating. But when in the sense of God, that is prayer, because we communicate with God in prayer. You understand? So here, when we say to Salli Allah, here we are talking about reaching out in the sense of communication. So now God says, and do not ever reach out to anyone dying among them, nor shall you stand over his grave. Because when he is dying, he's not dead yet. After he is dead, don't stand even on his grave.
Okay, but it says meta. It says meta instead of, doesn't that mean dead? The word that it's used there, meta, if I'm saying it right?
Mata, abada.
So doesn't that mean dead?
No, in this context.
No, okay, so it means dying, like he's not dead yet. He's like in the verge. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in the Arabic sense in the Quran, you can use the same word which is present for a present continuous tense, and it still works.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
You answered the question pretty well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace. The next person in line that I saw the number, let me see, is this number. Yeah, salam.
Hey, how about Shuaib?
Yes, brother. Your name and where you're calling from?
Sparrow from Phoenix, Arizona.
Aha,
in the United States.
Okay, nice to meet you, brother. How may I help you, brother? You called me.
Yeah, I did. Well, I think some of the questions I had, you already answered them. For example, why do we actually pray for the dead? I just heard that you said it is not important. And the other question that probably I have is, why do we, when we pray, we turn to Mecca? Is this part of a Quranic command or what?
No, it's not. God never actually asked anybody to pray facing a particular place and pray. He never said that. It is a misunderstanding and misconception taken from external sources that actually manipulate and confuse the notion, right? So some people take it upon themselves just because the word Qibla has been mentioned, so they think it's a prayer direction, whilst Qibla in the Quran is denoting a place of worship. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you read Quran chapter 2, verse 142 up to 148, it is talking about a place of worship assigned to the Prophet and the believers. And the place of worship is the Masjid al-Haram. And when Moses was alive, in Quran chapter 10, verse 87, God told them to render their houses as a Qibla, meaning a place of worship where they can establish the Salat also. So now you tell me, will God rather tell the believers and the prophets to rather pray facing the Masjid al-Haram? Then where are they standing to pray? If God says you should pray facing Masjid al-Haram, hypothetically, let's assume God says that. If God asks them to pray facing Masjid al-Haram, the verse never says so. Let me put the verse on the screen. This is the verse, Quran chapter 2, verse 144. It never mentioned the word Salat in that verse from beginning to end. No Salat there. But now I'm going to put the verse and hypothetically, I'm going to ask you a question so that you see the light in the verse. God says, we have seen your face turning around toward the sky. So we have turned you or entrusted to you a place of worship. That is a Qibla. Some people will say now direction of prayer. Okay, so let's say direction of prayer with which you will be pleased. So turn your face towards the sacred mosque, Masjid al-Haram. Okay, now, if people are saying it's a direction of prayer, where is the prophet supposed to stand to face the mosque?
Well, I don't know.
Is he supposed to be praying outside and facing the mosque? Or is he supposed to be praying inside the mosque and facing the mosque? Or where is he supposed to stand and pray?
That's an interesting question.
Thank you. Because when people let external sources influence the understanding of a particular verse in the Quran, this is where problem comes in.
So where this addition or interpolation come from?
Comes from the Hadith and external sources. It doesn't come from the Quran.
Wow.
Yes. So okay. I keep saying Quran chapter 10 verse 82. God says, and God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. In order to enforce the truth, we have to let God speak, and God only.
Okay. So the Hadith is something that we should not follow?
In a serious world, will you be following comedy?
No.
Thank you.
So Hadith are comedies?
Yeah, they are comedy. Imagine a book telling you an honorable man married a CCSO girl. Now, you tell me, what are you going to use a CCSO girl for when there are beautiful women out there? You look at the comment section, a lot of beautiful women are here. What are you going to do with a CCSO girl?
And this is only found in Hadith, right?
Thank you. Why are the scholars not marrying CCSO girls?
Well, they have some kind of an excuse for that.
No. They say it is Sunnah. If it is Sunnah, they should be doing it also. Where is the exception in the Sunnah? I taught the Mufti Mengs and school, they want to dress like the Prophet. They want to appear and talk and sing like the Prophet. Why can't they also marry CCSO girls? You go to Mufti Menk and say you want to marry his daughter, CCSO girl, and see what he will do to you.
Well, one of the excuse they have is, well, it's if we think that this is bad, it's kind of a fallacy of presentism, wherein, okay, that was then, it's the culture at the time.
Can they prove it? Can they prove it in the Quran? Was Prophet following a culture or was he following God? Hello? So he's following God. So can they prove it from the book of God where he says he should marry CCSO girl?
Okay. I have another question. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Yeah.
The other question has to do with the Kaaba.
Okay.
I have been thinking about that. In fact, in one of my commentaries, I actually tried to understand why are we going to a black stone and start, touching black stone and praying? What's the significance of this?
Muslims don't do that. It's only mushriks who go to do that. Mushrik, because there's no black stone in the Quran.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is also found in Hadith only.
Yes.
But there is the 5 pillars of Islam actually mention Mecca, right?
5 pillars of Islam, the concept comes from the Hadith. In Islam, in the Quran, there's no such thing where God says 5 pillars of Islam.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
No such thing. They gathered those things and say they are the pillars of Islam. God never said, even Abraham that we follow his footsteps, he never said there's 5 pillars of Islam. Abraham never said it anywhere. So who said there are 5 pillars of Islam? Who?
Interesting.
No,
now the last question.
Since when?
Last question I have.
Yeah, before you go to the last question, since when did the notion of 5 pillars start? Did it start at the time of Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Noah? Whose time did 5 pillars start?
I don't know.
Thank you. That is the
Oh.
point. It started from the comedy books. It is not a concept coming from God or the Quran.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
To be honest. And I spoke about this with Mami Grace. If you watch my program with Mami Grace, it's on my page. Watch it. You will see me answering that point.
In fact, I did not finish watching that, but that's the first time I actually found you. Then I even contacted you at one time that I wanted to interview in my channel.
Normally, you send me a voice message also. Sometimes I get to listen to voice because I'm busy doing things, so I can be listening to the voice message whilst I'm doing. I recommend to everybody, if you want to get in touch, babashuaib, you want to be question to be answered faster, send me a voice message. Because sometimes I can be in the kitchen, or sometimes I'm typing something, I'm busy. I just want to be listening something whilst I'm doing my thing.
A voice message on WhatsApp or regular phone?
On WhatsApp.
Okay, on WhatsApp. Now my last question is about alcohol. Some people are saying, well, alcohol is not totally banned. It's only you should not actually go to prayers while intoxicated. Some people says, well, alcohol is banned totally. Is there any Quranic verse that can clarify this?
Okay. First of all, when we talk about khamr is wine. Wine. This empty calling from Gambia. I'll call you back after this, brother. Please. You are over calling my this thing. Please. Empty. Stop calling. I'll call you back. Please. Wine is khamr, right? There are different types of wine. We have wine which doesn't intoxicate you. Then we have wine which can intoxicate. We call it champagne. You know champagne, right?
Yeah.
We have a champagne that you can drink and you don't get intoxicated. Then we have another one you can drink and you get intoxicated. So God spoke about khamr, which is wine. And wine, according to the Quran, is not haram. But actually, it can actually cause sin because it has some sin inside. So it has benefits and it has great sin. Entirely, God never said it is haram, but he actually advised the believers to avoid it. If I tell you to avoid something, does not mean that thing is forbidden. Are you listening to my point?
Yeah.
Okay. If I tell you avoid something, it doesn't mean that thing is forbidden. For instance, if I tell my kids to avoid candy, it doesn't mean the candy is forbidden. If it is totally forbidden, why is it that in the paradise, God will give people wine?
Yeah.
Are you getting my point? The notion of being forbidden is if it comes from the handwork of the devil. The handwork of the devil, the type of wine the devil wants you to drink is the one which will intoxicate you, which will make you go out of your senses. That is why the wine, we have different levels of wine. For instance, I drink wine, but the one without alcohol, I drink it.
Okay.
I did a video on it. It's on my page. I drink wine, but without the alcohol inside. So when you are breaking down,
well, grapefruit is also wine. Most wines are made from grapefruits too, right?
Exactly.
I actually
look. I'm going to put a verse on the screen. Quran chapter 16, verse 67. Let's see this verse. God says this. Listen to what God says in this verse. God says, "And from the fruit of date palms and grapes you take intoxicant therefrom and good sustenance. Indeed, there is a sign in that for people who reason." Do you see the verse?
No, because I'm using my phone. So
okay. So God says, "And from the fruit of date palms and grapes you take intoxicant therefrom and good sustenance. Indeed, there is a sign in that for people who reason." For instance, we use vinegar, we use cider, we use rice wine, we use a lot of substance from the fruit and the distance which actually has intoxicant in them. But the word used here is sakara. This sakara is actually talking about intoxicant. In this verse, God never said intoxicant is haram.
Okay.
The reason why God is asking us to avoid this, I'm going to show you the verse. Quran chapter 5, verse 90. God says, "Oh, you who have believed." Then he started by giving you a list. He said, wine, that is hammer, gambling, idols, and divination arrows are only filled from the work of the devil. So now the question is, if it is coming not from the work of the devil, can I use it or not?
Yeah.
If it's not from the work of the devil, I can use it.
Yeah.
So we have wine which doesn't have alcohol.
Okay, someone just want me to ask you one question about how you call it, fasting. Why the fasting month keeps changing from one month to another?
Because
I thought there is a specific month name for fasting.
Yeah, it is called Ramadan in the month of Hijr.
Ramadan.
Yeah, in the month of Hijr, and the calendar of Hijr calendar.
So why is it changing?
It doesn't change because you are measuring it with the Gregorian calendar. That is why you think it's changing.
Okay.
If you are based in Saudi Arabia, you will always be doing it in the month of Ramadan. So how did it change? I don't get it. Why people say it's changing.
Well, maybe because of the Gregorian calendar.
Exactly.
Because, for example, this year is, I think, in March, right?
What? Yeah, February, March. Yes.
Yeah. This year is in March. Last year was another month. So that's why we thought, well, it's changing because we are using the Gregorian calendar.
Do you know in which year this country is right now? Ethiopia.
According to the Ethiopian calendar.
Do you know which year they are right now?
I know that it's not 2025, definitely.
They are in 2017.
Oh, wow, 10 years, 8 years different?
Yeah, they are backwards, 2017.
Oh, okay.
So now imagine if you want to measure the calendar, Gregorian calendar into the Ethiopian calendar, it will be a mess.
Yeah, definitely.
Same way, if you are using the Gregorian calendar into the Hijr calendar, it's going to be a mess. So what people keep doing it because of most of the Westerners are using the Gregorian calendar. They think Ramadan is always changing. If you go to Saudi Arabia or any Arabian world, it is always in the month of Ramadan. They don't do fasting in another month called Rajab or something. They do the Siyam in the month of Ramadan, always on the calendar Ramadan, the month of Ramadan. Yes, it doesn't change. It is just the Gregorian calendar which doesn't match up to that because Hijr calendar is using lunar calendar, while Gregorian calendar it is using both lunar and solar calendar.
Okay. It makes sense. Actually.
Yes, that is just the problem. Yeah, that's where the problem is.
Well, I don't want to hold you too much. Thank you very much. I will definitely contact you if we can have a conversation more later on.
You're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for your time. Peace, brother.
Bye.
Yeah. So there's a brother calling. Let me get back to him. I think he's desperate. Let me call him. It's from Gambia, I think so. Najma, please, when I come to TikTok, please kindly call and tell me the problem.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, salam to you, brother. Your name and where you're calling from?
I am Mustafa calling from the Gambia.
Nice to meet you, Mustafa. How may I help you, Mustafa?
Thank you. I want you to clarify a verse for me in the Quran. And a friend asked me to read about it, but I did not make a clear understanding there. So it is chapter 17, verse 78.
Okay, chapter 17, verse 78. I put it on the screen. 17, 78. Yes, let's go.
Yeah, it says, establish prayer at the decline of the sun until the darkness of the night, and also the Quran of dawn. Indeed, the recitation of the dawn is ever witnessed. So does this means that is it at midday that we should observe prayers, which includes Zuhri, Asri, and Maghrib, or do we exclude Maghrib there and Asr?
In that verse, did you see God mentioning Asr?
No.
Did he mention Maghrib or something there?
No, it doesn't mention any
Okay,
prayer
so
there.
let's allow God to explain the verse for us. God says, establish the Salat at the setting, declining of the sun until the twilight of the night. That is number one. So meaning you establish the Salat at the declining of the sun until the twilight of the night. It's a time frame from this to this, right? Then now it says, and the reading or indication of dawn. So Fajr. So meaning the Salat has to be done before, starting from sunset, before sunset until the darkness of the night. That is one Salat there. Then the next Salat is at Fajr.
Okay, wait. It says the declining of the sun. So
yes,
the declining of the sun it starts during the afternoon.
It doesn't.
Let's say around 2.
No,
Around 2, that is
no.
where the declining of the sun begins.
In which country?
That is where it begins because it's a continuous process.
And I say in which country?
I can't tell, but that's what I believe.
That's not the time. That's not the time sun is setting. We don't see sunset at 2 o'clock in a normal country. Let's say in a normal country like Ghana, you can't say the sun is setting at 2 o'clock. Huh?
It is setting.
Yeah.
So it is a continuous process until it sets.
Wait. The word delaka. Do you know the meaning of delaka?
No.
Okay. So let me help you. I put it on the screen just to help you here. So when you massage something, let's say you take a cream and you massage it on your skin. When you are massaging it on the skin, what happens after you massage it in your skin?
It gets softened a little. See?
And then it becomes what? It disappears. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the root word is delaka. When we say delaka, something you rub something, you massage something, something that fade away. We call it delaka.
Okay.
That is the word delaka. So now it is used as a present continuous. It says duluki shams. So now are you telling me if we are supposed to use all these meanings of this word, it means something which is fading away, something that you rub off, something which is setting. Okay. Now the question is, does the sun fade away at 2 o'clock?
No, it doesn't fade away at 2 o'clock.
Around what time does it normally fade away?
Let's say around 6 onwards.
Thank you. So, or sometimes around 5, 6, depending if you are from the West of Africa, it's around 5:30 going. So now the proper word, in order to check with a meaning of a word, instead of going with the flow of what the Hadith books and the scholars keep doing, they will tell you the sun is declining from the zenith of the day. That is a lie. Sun does not decline in the middle of the day. I don't know which school they went, but if you say something is standing straight, can you say that thing is declining?
No, it is not.
So then how did they get the zuhur? So where did they get the zuhur salat? Because zuhur is in the middle of the day. So where did they get noon salat from? The noon, where is it from?
That is why I asked.
No, I mean, where did they get it from? Where did they? I didn't say you. Where did the scholars get it from? Is it this verse they got it from?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay, then that is a wrong interpretation or translation, because the word delaka does not mean in the middle of the day that the sun is fading away or rubbing off or setting. The sun doesn't set in the middle of the day. So the zuhur salat they have is concocted from the hadith books, not coming from the Quran. When God says duluki shams, that is the time the sun is going down, it's about to disappear, it's about to fade away. So that time is when the salat time starts. So he says liduluki shams, then he says ila gasakil layl. So until the twilight of the night, that is the time it ends. That is one. Then the next one is wa Qur'an al-Fajr. You get the point?
Okay.
Wa Qur'an al-Fajr.
Yeah.
Then that is at Fajr also. So it is the Salat, because remember, the subject is talking about the Salat. Akimi Salat. So it is the same Salat you are going to do at the Fajr time again. That's why it says wa Qur'an al-Fajr. Then it says, indeed, the Quran of the Fajr will be observed or shall be observed.
Okay.
Do you see the point?
Yeah, I'm coming up.
Thank you. So now, this verse you just presented to me, without putting any external opinion, tell me, how does it accommodate Zuhur, Asr, and ones they created in between? How does he accommodate it there?
Because I believe the declining, it is mentioned in the whole process. Because you said that the declining begins at 6. So for me, I think as far as the time is around, let's say 2 p.m. and as it is coming down, let's say up to 6, and it is beginning to set. The whole of that process, I think that is where they take everything from.
So that's why
all this
no problem. That's why I ask you the word delaka, the word delaka, the root word. Yes. It means it means something fade away. That is a literal meaning of it. Yeah. Something you massage in order to rub off, to vanish. So how does the sun fade away at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.? How does the sun fade away at that time? How?
It is not fading at the time.
Yeah, but that when we are using the literal word delaka, when we are going to use the literal word delaka, where the word duluk comes from, how did they get the meaning that Salat al-Zuhur or Asr is part of the time God is giving?
Okay, can you go straight to the point now? Can you simply say there is nothing like Salat al-Zuhri or Asr?
It's not in the Quran. Asr, Salat al-Asr, not in the Quran.
So one should not pray even if it is not mentioned in the
If it's not in the book of God, why will you do it? Look, if a boss gives you a contract and he says come 1 o'clock and close 5 o'clock, will you go do extra hours and put it on the boss to pay you?
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
If one wants to do it, that's up to him. But I would rather do the one God says I should do. That's fine. If you want to do bonus, that's up to you. If you do it as bonus, that's up to you. I'm not saying you cannot do bonus. But please, nobody should put it on God and by force and say, God says we should do that. No.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this clarification.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace be to you. So I can tolerate my last caller before I go. I think, who did I miss? Did I miss any other call again? Alex from Belgium is my last caller. Let me.
Salam, Shuaib.
Salam, my brother. How are
you? It's Alex calling from Belgium. So
bless you, Isken.
I had 2 questions, 2 small little questions about 2 verses. It's the first one. It's 4:24. It's about the married woman, who you are not allowed to marry with, and it states that and the married woman among women except those your right hand possess. Does it mean that you can marry right hand possessed women that are already in marriage with other guys or not?
The verse you are asking for is in Quran chapter 4. Let me see. 4 verse 25. Quran chapter 4 verse. We can start from 24, right?
Yeah.
Now this verse is saying, and the married among women. If somebody is married, you cannot marry.
Yeah.
So if a woman is already married, last time somebody was asking me a question that, how is it that a man can marry 2 wives or 3 wives, but a woman cannot marry 2 men? The point is, God already sealed that. When a woman is married, she cannot marry again.
Okay.
And besides, the woman gets pregnant, the man doesn't get pregnant. It is a man who impregnates a woman. You understand?
Yes.
So a man can even impregnate 1,000 women on in a year.
Yeah.
But a woman, the moment a man makes her pregnant, she has to wait for 9 months and so before she can give birth for another person to be able to impregnate her. You see, so God is giving us a simple way of life, not to complicate our lives for us. Of course, I've seen traditions and certain documentaries where in some traditions you see a woman married to 2 men or 3 men. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsensical.
Yes.
You understand? And because if she's pregnant, you have to wait till she gives birth before you can know this baby is for this guy or that guy.
Yes, yes.
So God wants simplicity for us. So now, coming back to the verse, Quran chapter 4, it starts from verse 23. It's telling us the category of women we can marry. Then he says the women forbidden for you to marry, he gave you the list, including the married among the women you cannot marry. So if a woman is already fortified or married, you cannot marry. Yeah, thank you very much, Iske. You cannot marry when she is married. Now, except those your right hands possess. I have a video concerning Malakat Aimani. They are not slaves. They just happen to be the young believing women. They are young believing women, meaning they are not in the position of a matured woman as a woman who is actually responsible for herself yet. You understand? When a young woman, a lady is a young lady, she normally is with her parents or a family, usually.
Yes.
Whatever happens, the family has to do. But sometimes this lady is being taken care of by somebody else. I don't know about in the Western world, but sometimes you have a young lady who has a parent from the village. So from the small towns, they will send her to certain people or her relatives, certain relatives in a bigger city to be with them there.
Yeah, I know that kind of practice.
Those kind of practice. Then those ones taking care of her, they are the ones who possess the right over her.
Yeah.
Yes. So somebody can be taking care of that kind of lady, but he wants to marry her. So in case he wants to marry her, he has to seek the permission of his family. It's not like straightforward to go and sleep with her or take her for granted. No. So then God says, except those your right hand possesses, meaning those your right hand possesses, they are free for you to marry.
Yeah, and this also means that they are not married yet with somebody else.
Exactly, they are not married.
Yeah. Yeah, because what I thought it is that right hand possess is somebody who is your slave, but I haven't watched your video about that.
I have the video on it. It's not about slave. I have a video. I gave the breakdown. I don't know. Can I share that? Maybe I can share the screen of the video.
I can see it.
Yes, let me share the screen so that you get to see the video I'm talking about.
Okay,
I put the title Shackles. Let me go. Michael, okay. I'll see if I can pick up your question. No problem. So I go to the next just to show the video I'm talking about. Where is it? Shackle. Yeah, I found it. So I put it on the screen. This one. If you go to my general videos session, the title is Actual Deception. It's called Actual Deception. Those your right hands possess. Actual Deception. That's the cover of the thumbnail. So if you write it down, you search it on my page, you find it. That is, yes. And it explains concerning those your right hand possess.
I will study it.
Yes.
It looks interesting.
Kindly do that. You get your answer there.
Yeah, okay then. And also I can one last verse that I also have some just a small struggle with understanding. It's verse 24, 33. 24, 33. It is about it was something about about the compel into prostitution. It was about that, and in the end from this verse it states that and whoever compels them, then indeed God, after their compulsion, is forgiving and merciful. Does it mean that he's compulsion for the person who did that to them, or he's compulsion for the woman?
Okay, let's read the verse to understand. When you read chapter 24, verse 33, it says, "And let those who do not find marriage refrain until God enriches them from his favor." Some people might be ready to find marriage. Like I've seen several instances where I've seen both men and women, they wish to get married. They are looking for somebody to you know. And sometimes it is not just about finding the man or the woman. Sometimes you have to find people you are compatible with. And when I say compatible, it doesn't mean if you like rock music, they have to also like rock music. That is not how compatibility works. People should pay attention to this. When you meet a guy and he likes color blue and you like black, that doesn't mean you are not compatible. You understand? You have to understand. People that you can be at peace with, you can stay in the same space and you understand each other. That is the best relationship you should find. People who can understand you and you can understand them. That is what you should be looking for. Stop looking for somebody who is tall, thick, Superman, who is muscular, who is, you understand. You can find a guy and you can pay for him to go to gym. He will go. So stop looking for already built guy and, And then God is telling those people who do not find marriage to refrain until God enriches them from his favor. Meaning, if you keep searching, you should refrain from trying to force and find marriage, because sometimes you are forced to go and find the wrong woman.
Yes.
Then you regret it. So you have to refrain until God enriches you, meaning you have to keep praying to God. God give you the chance to find the right lady. Sometimes when you meet the right woman, you will know this is the right woman. And you meet the right man, you will actually feel it, that this is the right man for me. So now God says, and those who seek the registration. That is why nowadays when we get married, we go to the magistrate to register our marriage. So now in this context, the Al-Kitab here mentioned is the register. So talking about the registration.
Yes.
If you want to marry, it has to be registered. But this context of these verses is referring to the believers as well as the prophet. So when I say believers, the prophet is the leader of the believers at that time, right? So God is giving these instructions. So then God says, and those who seek the registration of those your right hands possess, then or hence register them. So sometimes you have your right hand possessing certain young women that you are in charge of, taking care of. Now somebody wants to marry from them. Then God says, hence register them if you know any good in them. And this is the same thing I advise every parent. If somebody comes from the hand for the hand in marriage of your daughters, try to find out if the person is a good person. Yes, it's very, very important to know who you are handing over your daughter to. Just as Moses, when he went to Midian to get married, the father of the two ladies, when he wanted to marry one of them, the father investigated Moses, and he actually got to know that Moses was a good person. Right? Now, Moses being a good person, remember, Moses actually killed somebody by mistake in the land of Pharaoh before coming. You can see. So when we say a good person, it doesn't necessitate that maybe in the country they see him as a fugitive. Then you think he's not a good person. That's not what it means. It could be it was a snare on him or an allegation upon him, which is actually tarnishing his image. So you have to investigate to know if the person is good. Then God says, and give them from the wealth of God, which he has given you. So if somebody is going to marry somebody you possess, your right hand possess, and somebody wants to come and marry them from you, you have to give them from the wealth of God, which he has given you. Yeah. So meaning a guy coming to marry, I will take it as even your daughter, somebody coming to marry her, if you have money, sponsor them. Because now the person is going to take over you, the parents, is going to take over from you guys by taking care of your daughter. So you have to sponsor. So then God says, which God has given you in plural form, meaning the believers. And then now he says, and do not compel your young girls. So you see, those your right hand possessors are the young women, the young girls. Yeah. So do not compel your young girls into prostitution. Because what normally happens is, you see, when the lady is at the age of 15, 16, 17, 18, that is the time where she is at the peak of attraction, usually. Mm-hmm. Men start to gaze. They set their eyes on her. You understand? Because she has passed the puberty state. She has reached the teenage stage. So now the men will start looking at her. So now God says, and do not compel your young girls into prostitution, because that is the time mostly people push their girls into prostitution. They will go out there, men will sleep with them in order to make the parents rich. Yes. Then God says,
see it in Asia also.
Yeah, it happens, even in Africa. Yeah. In order to seek the exhibition of the worldly life, if they desire to be chaste, because there could be a young lady who wants to be chaste. She doesn't want to go out sleeping, but her parents, because they lack financial support or something, they want to push the lady to go and do prostitution, which is not good. So God is giving the advice all over. And God says, whoever compels them, if you compel those young ladies, then indeed God, after that, their compulsion is forgiving and merciful. The reason why God says after that, some people might do it out of ignorance. Yeah. Because God talks about repentance. So let's go and check the repentance. In Quran chapter 4, verse 17 to 18, this is what God says. God says God only forgives those who do evil out of ignorance and repent afterwards. You see? So if it is done out of ignorance, God will forgive. But if it is done deliberately, then the person is going to face God. Yes. Then he says, for those are the ones whom God will forgive, and God is omniscient and wise. So Quran chapter 24, verse 33, that we just read, those your right hand possesses does not mean people, ladies or slaves or people you just sleep with them anyhow. No, they have to be married before anything. And they shouldn't be forced into prostitution. So if people tell you that those your right hand possesses, you can sleep with them as a concubine, is that not prostitution? It is. Thank you. So they are going against God. They are hypocrites, the mushriks, and whatever.
No, like that. It's making a lot of sense.
Yes. Yes.
Because I get these verses from somebody who is like atheist, and he used it like argument that Quran is propagating prostitution and something like that.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't propagate.
Yeah, if you put your slaves, he used the word slaves, and he tells if you use them, and after God will forgive you after this, but it didn't make sense.
That's not what that's what the atheists and the agnostic and so on, that's what they do. They come into the Quran without understanding because they want to cause failure in the Quran, and that's what they do. So Alex, thank you for your question. I need to pick one or two people before I go. So thank you. I appreciate your
Have
time.
A nice day.
Peace to you.
Bye.
Peace. Yes, brother.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, brother Shuaib.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother.
How you doing, brother? I'm from Canada here.
Yeah, nice to meet you, brother. I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Okay, I'll try to condense it. It's primarily on, I've been trying to go back and forth with the concept of Jesus born with the Father, without. It looks like it's almost like 50-50. And based on my upbringing, before becoming Quran alone, it was Ahmadi background. So they preached very hard that Jesus has a father. And they have a few verses they use to substantiate it that I wanted to provide you, and I wanted to see your take on it. One of them that they use is chapter 49, verse 13, where they say, "O mankind, we created you as a male and female. We made you nations and tribes. You may get to know one another. We'll get to know one another." And they also quote chapter 6, 101. They say that, if it says that Allah cannot produce without a mate, then they say, well, how could Mary do it if Allah declares that he cannot do it without a mate? And the last one they bring is, I think it's chapter 6, verse 85, 86, and 87. And they say that Jesus' name is listed among the prophets there. And then it says in 87, also among their father and their descendants. And they say, well, based on that, that means that Jesus has a father, because it mentioned Jesus, and then in 87 it mentioned his father. So I would like to know if these verses are being misconstrued, or was the birth with the father, not with the father, or what exactly?
Okay, thank you. So do they actually believe that Adam doesn't have father and it doesn't have a mother? Do they believe that?
I think they do. I think they're separated something like the initiation of creation, and then everything after that is procreation or something.
Now, do they believe that with God all things are possible?
I sure hope so. That's what I believe.
Okay. So now, I'm going to show you a verse. Before that verse, this is chapter 49, verse 30. It says, "O you mankind, indeed we created you as a male and a female, and made you nations and tribes, that you may recognize each other. Indeed, the noblest of you in front of God is the most pious of you." Then it says, "Indeed, God is omniscient and cognizant." Now, I'm going to put this verse, Quran chapter 3, verse 26 to 27, and I'm going to read it. God says, "Say, O God, possessor of the dominion, you give sovereignty to whomever you will, and you take sovereignty away from whomever you will. And you honor whomever you will, and you humiliate whomever you will. In your hand is the good. Indeed, you are capable of what?" Can you see the screen?
You are capable of, just came up, right?
You are capable of all things.
Of all things, yes, yes.
I just want you to pay attention carefully. God is capable of what?
All things. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
There's no bound to God.
Okay, now let's go forward. Then he says, "You insert the night into the day, and you insert the day into the night. You bring the living out of what? The dead. And you bring the dead out of the living.
Mm-hmm.
And you provide for whomever you will without reckoning."
Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number one, God is capable of all things, except the things he tells you he does not do. Are you listening to what I'm saying? For instance, God will tell you it's not befitting for him to have a son.
Right.
The things he tells you is not befitting for him to do. It doesn't mean he cannot do, but the moment he already talks against that, you don't attribute that to God again.
Right.
For instance, God says every soul will die, right?
Yeah.
Is it befitting for God to let us not all die?
No, because he already said that.
Exactly, because he already said on the contrary that everybody will taste death. So why will he,
right.
Even though he is capable, he can stop us from dying, he's not going to do that.
Right.
So he already spoke against that. Just like he spoke against having a son, he spoke against that. So if sometimes a Christian will tell you, "Oh, if God is capable of all things, why can't he have a son?" It's not as if he cannot have a son. He said if he wanted to have a son, he could have chosen whatever he wanted from his creations.
Right.
Thank you. So now, if God is capable of all things, the all things now he is talking about is in the same chapter 3, verse 59. Let's see the comparison of Adam and Jesus. God says, indeed, the example of Jesus with God is like the example of Adam. But not with us. With who? With God. So meaning in the eyes of God, the example of Jesus is like the example of what? Adam.
Right.
So now if somebody can believe Adam does not have a father and he does not have a mother, but cannot believe that Jesus doesn't have a father, then what is wrong with the logic?
Well, that's what I was thinking. So that's what I thought that this verse means, because I don't see God has a verse like this anywhere else in the Quran where he compares two people.
Okay.
This is like, I think this is the only verse, right? So to me, it makes sense what you're saying. Like what you just said, it makes sense that's why God would say this verse and say this similitude to Adam.
So now let's go back to Jesus himself. Let's go and ask him whether he has a father. In Quran chapter 19, verse 29, we are going to read up to maybe 35. Let's see Jesus. Does he have a father? So his mother, she pointed to him, that is after he was born. She pointed to him, to her family. This said, how can we speak to one who is a baby in the cradle? He, the child, said, indeed, I am a servant of God. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. So number one, do these people believe that the child spoke? The people who say he has a father, do they even believe? Because most of the people who claim they follow even Quran, they say they don't believe in miracles.
I think they believe that he speaks, yeah.
Oh, so they believe that a child, a baby spoke, right? Ah.
I think.
Oh. Are they not being hypocritical?
Well, the translation used before, it uses child. I see you have baby here. They put child.
Yes, no problem. In the context,
and I think one of the reasons too why is their explanation with growing up, what they said is that this sequence of events in chapter 19 with these verses, they taught us that it's not all happening right away. So,
but why did they attribute the statement by saying, "How can we speak to one who is, let's say, a child in the cradle"? Why would they say that statement?
You wouldn't say it if it's not true. If it's not true. If it's not like a young baby or a young
exactly. So that is the context. The context is revealing, because it will sound stupid for them to be asking a baby that question.
Yeah.
Because we all know it's a baby that cannot speak.
Right.
Are you getting my point? My son is 5 years old right now. He can speak for himself. If something goes wrong, I don't need to ask his mother. I can ask him. Are you getting my point? Because I know he can speak.
Yeah.
So the family of Maryam, they are not stupid. It was a baby they are seeing. If it's not a baby, why can't they ask the child? They can say, "Hey, boy, where are you coming from? Why are you with this lady?"
If it was somebody that could talk back to them, they wouldn't ask the question in the first
Thank you. So these people are just silly in the head. They try to bring their opinions to just confuse the narrative of the Quran.
The problem too is, maybe that, but I think it's more so that they try too hard to rationalize everything and put it in natural law. But then when it comes to God, if he wants to do something outside the natural law, I believe that he can.
Yes, he can do that. That's why I showed you the verse. He's capable of all things, except the things he tells you doesn't do.
That's right. So if you say that because creation has all the natural laws, and then you say that anything God does has to be just like that, so he doesn't break his own rules, but then that doesn't make God all powerful, and then God becomes a creation too. I don't see him being a creator, because then he has to play by the rules of creation. It doesn't make him any different.
God doesn't follow anybody's rule. He can make rules and break it. Nobody can question him.
Yeah.
So what do they mean God doesn't break his rules? He can break his own rules and nobody dares question him. No, you tell me, all the prophets who were guided, were they the ones who guided themselves?
No, they're probably unguided. God
It was a favor God did for them. Are you telling me God couldn't do it for everybody also? He could have done it.
He said it, yeah. He said if he wanted, he could have made everybody
Thank you.
believe them.
So it's a favor he does. He created us.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, oh, why is it that? That's why some people are born in a rich family. Some people are born in the poor family.
Yeah.
We don't decide that. God did.
No.
So
I think it's to get away from the fact of miracles. And I'm not 100%, but that's why I'm asking the questions, because I think I'm going to lean towards that this looks to me like it's a miracle. Because
okay.
the other thing I thought about too is that one thing also argument they use too, or people in general that don't believe it without a father, is that they say, oh, look at other prophets, names are mentioned in the Quran. The Quran doesn't mention their fathers or doesn't mention all of their fathers, but it doesn't mean that they don't have a father. But then I said, okay, look at this case in chapter 19. It never detailed the birth process of the rest of the prophets that had fathers. Why did it go? And if your argument is that Jesus had a father, then why is it going and detailing the whole process for a normal birth? It doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you. Let me show you where they are lying. They are putting a lie on Jesus. And now, if I read from chapter 19, verse 29, and we go downwards, listen what Jesus said. And he has made me blessed wherever I will be, and has ordained for me the Salat and the Zakat, as long as I live. Then now it says, and to be nice to my parent, that is a female parent.
Yes.
So why didn't he say both parents?
That's a question I had in my mind too as well. I was wondering that because I saw a couple verses before that with John the Baptist. It said that he was nice. The same sentence, and it says parents.
Yes.
I saw in this one it says parent.
Yes.
And I was wondering that if Jesus is a prophet and he's a good person, if he had a father,
yes,
it should say parents, because why would you? It doesn't mean you're not nice to your father, so it should be plural. It should be dual.
If even he had a human father, then it would not make sense for Christians to be saying he's the son of God. Where is the sense in that?
Son of God, yeah.
Wow,
even if he had a father, it's not. It doesn't make sense to be nice to one parent. He would have to be nice to both parents.
Umar,
it would have to be a dual.
Yes, Umar. You know what? When we are talking about wise people, let's not talk about stupid people. Can we change topic already? They sound stupid already.
Can you just explain a bit from a couple verses earlier?
Okay.
Oh.
So here in this verse it says, and to be nice to my parent, and has not made me tough and scoundrel. And he says, and peace be upon me the day I was born, and the day I will die, and the day I will be resurrected.
No. Can you do from the part where it said, I think it says, and mention Mary, and then it starts talking about the birth from there. When she drew to the eastern place and
verse 16. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
In chapter 19, verse 16, where it says, and mentioned in the book is Mary, when she retreated away from her family to an eastern location, and she took a partition other than them. Then we sent our spirit to her, and it appeared to her as a normal human. She, Mary, said, I seek protection with the gracious against you if you should be pious. He, the Spirit, said, I am only a messenger of your Lord to grant you a pure boy. She said, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me? Because if Jesus has a father, then why is she saying this statement?
Yeah.
Are you getting my point? She said no man has touched her. So how can she have a son?
Well, they say that this is before, and that she's going to get pregnant by a man later. They have a timeline, like it's going to happen later.
Okay, so after then Jesus was born, he only acknowledges his mother and not the father anymore.
Yeah, no, well, there's that part too, yeah.
What kind of reasoning do these people have, for God's sake? I don't understand. Please, can you find me such people to face me on a dialogue one-on-one?
I will try to call them to get you to.
No, I'm serious. I'm interested in people with this hula baloo and the heebie-jeebies. I just want to show the world how this kind of people reason. Seriously. Now, I think people who are saying Jesus has a father, a biological father, human father,
yeah,
they are not okay. I'm serious. They can only be basing on their opinions and assumptions, and then they say God does not transgress his own laws. According to which verse does he say?
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's how the overall picture looks to me. It looks like that it's harder to prove that he has a father than to not prove he has a father. That's what the whole picture looks like if you're trying to do this.
Of course, they will be going against the verses of God. They are hypocrites, I consider them. People who have that kind of thought. They're just hypocrites. You will see people telling you, how can Moses divide the sea with his stick? He didn't do it. It is with the help of God. Why are people so stupid?
That's what I told my wife too. I said that if they believe like this for Jesus' case, then you have to believe some kind of rational thing for Moses parting the sea. But that could be a miracle. God could have just did that. He
of
said
course.
He could have just did that.
He could have done that. Exactly.
Okay, can continue from 20.
Okay, she said, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me, and I have not been a whore? Now, he, the Spirit, said, thus said your Lord, it is easy for me, so that we may render him a sign for the people and a mercy from us. And the matter was decreed. So she conceived him and retreated to a distant location with him. So the pains of labor brought her to the trunk of a date palm. She said, oh, if only I had died before this, and was obliviously forgotten. So he, the child, called her from beneath, that do not grieve, your Lord has made a brook below you. So shake the trunk of the date palm before you, a fresh harvest will light upon you. So eat and drink and entertain the eyes, and if you see anyone among humans, then say, indeed, I have pledged an abstinence to the gracious, so I will never speak to a human today. She brought him to her kindred. Carrying him, they, the kindred, said, oh, Mary, you have certainly came up with something unprecedented. O sister of Aaron, your father was not a bad man, nor was your mother a whore. So she pointed to him. They said, how can we speak to one who is a baby in the cradle? He the child said, indeed, I am a servant of God. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. And God, has made me blessed wherever I will be, and has ordained for me the Salat and the Zakat as long as I live, and to be nice to my parents, that is mother, and he has not made me tough and scoundrel. And peace be upon me the day I was born, and the day I will die, and the day I will be resurrected alive. That was Jesus, the son of Mary, the word of truth, which they are disputing about. It is not for God to have a son, glory be to him. Whenever he issues a command, then he only says to it be, then it becomes, because it was be and it is, and it happened with Jesus. So why are they surprised if Jesus doesn't have a father? You get the point.
Was it all instantaneous? All these verses one after the other, did it actually happen instantaneous, or was there a timeline associated with this?
You mean the timeline?
I mean, like, was this spread out, or everything just happened instantly one after the other? Like the angel appeared to him as a man, then she just got pregnant after, then she just went to the tree trunk, then like did everything just happen instantly one after the other?
Yes, according to the way the story went, it happened one after the other. When the angel came to her, she located to an eastern location. So this is what he said. Look at the verse. Chapter 19, verse 17. See what happened after the angel, the spirit came to her. This is what he said. He says, and mentioned in the book is Mary, when she retreated away from her family to an eastern location, and she took a partition other than them, then we sent our spirit to her, and it appeared to her as a normal human. She said, I seek protection with the gracious against you if you should be pious. He said, I am only a messenger of your Lord to grant you a pure boy. She said, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me? and I have not been a whore. He said, thus said your Lord, it is easy for me. You see, so that we may render him a sign for the people. Because if he has a father, why is he a sign? If he has a human father who copulated with Maryam, why will he be a sign again? For what?
That's right.
Why will he be?
Yeah. What would make him special? That wouldn't make him really special.
Never. Then the Christians will not even have no need to even say he's a son of God. Are you getting my point?
No.
Then they will be pointing, oh, he has a father. This is his father. His father is a human being. They will be pointing.
Okay, and the last point they usually say is, I think, I'm not sure, it's close somewhere here. There's a phrase, kun fa yakun, or something like that. And they said that phrase is used elsewhere in the Quran, and that it doesn't necessitate that things happen right away, that there could be a plan in place. That in this case, they say that like they told Mary she's gonna have a kid, but then kun fa yakun means that it doesn't have to happen right away, that she's gonna get married, then she'll have a husband, then have a kid, and etc. etc. So they're trying to use kun fa yakun, saying it elsewhere in the Quran to kind of justify that the whole thing is normal or something.
You see, the notion of assumption in the words of God is problematic when people start assuming things.
Yes.
And that is why when babashuaib, sometimes I do videos, I ask people question, where does it say? Where does it say? And people find my question irritating, annoying, because I don't give them chance to assume things.
Yeah. I agree with you with that. Yeah.
So when people start doing that, that is where the devil comes in. It starts playing with your conscience. Then people will start, this is how the devil plays with people to the extent they will say, no, Jesus has a father.
Yeah.
And very soon you hear them say Adam has a father.
Yeah.
I've heard somebody who claimed to be a follower of Quran alone. He says there's no way Adam cannot have a father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how it starts. If you ask them, if you ask them to prove it, they say, oh, the Quran doesn't need to state it. You have to just analyze it yourself. What?
Oh yeah, that's why for this particular subject matter, I ask you, I just stay neutral now. I didn't take a side because I want to make sure all my doubts are gone and that the arguments I have for whatever position I take is all from the Quran. I don't want to rely on an assumption.
Exactly. It has to be from the Quran. And that is why whatever babashuaib you see me talking about, I base my evidences with the verses of God and I let the Quran speak for itself. I don't just let somebody's opinion, whims and desires comes to me. No, I don't give a damn about somebody's opinion. It's about the verses speaking about itself.
Okay, the last thing still on the topic, just if you could clarify, the chapter 6, 85, 86, and 87, it mentions Jesus' name there along with Zechariah, Ishmael, Isaiah, Jonah, Lot.
Yeah.
And then in 87, it says also among their fathers and their descendants.
Yeah.
Can you clarify? They pick that, they use those three verses and they say it says their fathers, so they say Jesus must have a father. Can you go over that? And is that a valid argument or
it's not?
Is that misinterpreted?
It's not a valid argument, but let's see. It says here also Zechariah, John, Jesus, and Elijah. Zechariah and John. Zechariah is the father of John. And he's the uncle of Maryam, the mother of Jesus.
Okay.
So it is being mentioned in order because John was born before Jesus. So it is mentioned in the family order. They come from the same family of Amram.
Okay, yeah.
How is that difficult to understand?
Okay, John, Jesus. Yeah, no. So if you go to 87, it says also among their fathers. So now they take that statement also among their fathers in 87.
Because your fathers can even represent ancestors. It can even represent your great-great-grandfather. When Quran uses fathers, it doesn't necessitate that your biological father always, direct father, or the direct father you are descending from. Yes, Quran has used different instances like this. Abba Akum. Abba Akum doesn't necessitate. Okay, let me give you an example. Look, let's use Abraham as an example. Quran chapter 22, verse 78. Listen how God termed Abraham as. And strive for God with true striving to him. Then he says, he has chosen you and has not placed any difficulty upon you in the religion. The creed of your father, that is Abikum, your ancestor, your father, Abraham.
Yeah.
Does it mean is it our direct father?
No, it's not.
So that is the point. That is the point. Look, the Quran needs to be contemplated in such a way you allow God to explain. It doesn't mean contemplate the Quran to use your assumptions or opinions.
Yes, I see what you're saying there.
That's the point.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, thank you very much, Brother Omar. Yeah, thank you. Peace. Who is the last caller who tried calling me? Did somebody try calling me? The last caller. Who is it? Michael, right? You are my last caller. Michael, let me come to you. Is it Michael, right? Okay. That's my last caller.
Salam.
Yeah, walaikum salam, brother. Your name and where you're calling
everything
from?
Good? Yes, my name is Michael. I'm calling from Seattle, US.
Okay, nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, my question is only a single one, just so you can go to rest. It's about the halal food. Every where I live, there's every corner there's a restaurant that said this is halal food. So we as a Muslim, we're supposed to eat only halal food. Is that right? Or you can, for example, buy a chicken that doesn't say anything, and then when you cook it here, you say Bismillah, then you can eat it. Like in the Surah said, Surah 5, Ayat 4, that said, God, when you teach your dog catch a animal, then you cook it and you say Bismillah, and then you can eat it. That was my question.
Okay, first of all, we check Quran chapter 2, verse 168. God is talking to the people in general. This verse is not talking to Muslims or believers. It's talking to everybody. Remember, the Quran is a book for mankind. It's not only limited to children of Israel, Arabs, or anybody. It's for everybody. Everybody can use the Quran. Right? Because it's a book which speaks to everybody, everyone. So, O you mankind, eat from what is on earth lawful and good, and do not follow the steps of the devil. Right? Indeed, he is a clear enemy to you.
Yes.
Now, according to God, number one, we have to eat on earth what is lawful, halal.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, we have to eat what is good. So it has to be halal and good. And when we say halal, it means something which is allowed, which is lawful.
Okay, so we cannot eat any chicken that is not halal.
So let's see how it becomes halal.
Okay.
Quran chapter 6, verse 116. First of all, God says, if you obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God. They only follow assumption and they are only guessing. Indeed, your Lord is aware of those who stray from his way, and he is aware of the guided. So eat from that upon which the name of God has been mentioned, if you are believers in his verses. So if you are a believer in the verses of God, you have to eat from what his name has been mentioned.
Okay.
But it doesn't stop there. Let's go forward.
Okay.
And why should you not eat from that upon which the name of God has been mentioned, while he has detailed for you what is unlawful to you, and that to which you are compelled? And indeed, many are misleading with their inclinations without knowledge. Indeed, your Lord is aware of the trespassers. And leave what is apparent of sin and what is hidden. Indeed, those who are earning sins will be requited for what they have been committing. And do not eat from that upon which the name of God has not been mentioned, for indeed it is immoral. And indeed, the devils will inspire to their allies to argue with you. And if you obey them, you will indeed become idolaters.
Wow.
Now, the
Great.
verses I just read, God said, do not eat upon that which the name of God has not been mentioned. So now, if I take a fruit, before I eat, I need to mention the name of God.
Yes.
Yes, it's food.
Yeah.
So that I need to mention the name of God. But when it comes to the animal, what do I need to do? So now in Quran, the same chapter, we go to 145. In the same chapter, chapter 6, verse 145. Now it says, say, I do not find in what has been inspired to me any food outlawed upon ingesting it. So when we say ingesting it, you know what it means, right? To eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I do not find in what has been inspired to me any food outlawed upon ingesting it, unless it be a dead animal. Number one, if it's a dead animal, don't eat it. If you are going to buy a meat, you have to find out if the animal died on its own or it was slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, you don't need to eat blood or you drink blood. Drinking or eating blood is forbidden.
Yeah.
Or the meat of pig.
Pig?
Yes, pig. The meat of pig is forbidden.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The reason is because for indeed it is filthy. That is why God doesn't want you to eat. Is it filthy?
Yes.
It's very, very filthy. It's very filthy. Then it says, or to be sinfully offered to other than God. So the meat, if it has been offered to other than God, it is forbidden for you.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Then God says, but whoever is compelled without desiring. Because sometimes you can be in compulsion, but you don't desire to eat that meat, but you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that
So
one.
whoever is compelled without desiring, nor trespassing, then indeed your Lord is forgiving and merciful. Meaning, if you are in a situation where you don't have a choice or you don't have an option, then you can eat. God is forgiving and merciful. You ask for forgiveness, He can forgive you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Babasha.
You're welcome, brother.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yes, peace to you. Yeah, peace.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've done 3 hours. I think that is enough. I was getting tired already. I want to go to TikTok maybe some couple of hours before I go. Right. So this is my lecture for today. 3 hours is too long. I appreciate your presence. For all those who were here before they left, Brother Imran and so on, Sharif Karim, all of you who are here, I appreciate your presence. God bless you all. Thank you for yes. And then the video for my I have videos online that I have to release. The video for the Salat tutorial, the video for my conference in Ghana, some couple of editings that I've done that I need to release. I need to release them on time. It is never easy because most of the times I do the editing of my video by myself, right? So it is difficult sometimes to go through all the videos because I have a lot of things to do at the same time. And that is why you see the slow pace of me delivering the videos. But they will come eventually. Please just have patience to anticipate. The videos will be dropping gradually. You understand? Sometimes it takes me time. One video, if it is about 1 hour video and I have to paste it, sometimes it takes me more than about 2 weeks to finish. It's never easy, right? It's never easy. Video editing is never, ever easy. So imagine being babashuaib. I have to answer people's questions. I have to arrange my files. I have to go on the Great Koran, deal with other issues. I have to go on. Anyways, I thank God for giving me the capacity. That's all I can say. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to TikTok. You can join me there. Let's have fun. 3 hours is too much on Facebook and YouTube. so that other people can get the chance to re-watch the program and benefit from. I appreciate your presence. We have Abu Thomas, we have Brother Jam, we have Taz, Meraki, Eric, Ricky, Abdul Samad, Sharif Karim, Sister Khadija, all of you, Halal Ahmed. I appreciate your presence. In case I couldn't get the chance to answer your question, please pardon me. You can join me on TikTok. I might have the energy to answer. Mr. Cruising Toot, thank you all. I appreciate your presence. Till we meet again next week. God bless you. Peace. Always give them a reason to remember your name. The correctional officer.